Well, we're here. It's the it is happening. The rally in DC is happening, and I'm just setting up stuff here. This is not this is not going to be an overly produced thing, but we've got a couple live streams over here on the other monitor, and we're getting ready. So I'm just gonna set up the share screens and everything, and you'll be able to see what's going on. Logan Exhales is streaming on Twitter, and it looks like Shannon Lane is streaming, and Bill Tarling just sent me a link to the official stream. So we'll be getting some stuff going here in a minute. Once we get going, you guys go ahead and share it everywhere. I know that this is Bill Tarling's instant message here, and it's not loading quickly. So let's get it a different way over on a different monitor. Hey, it's always good. But how's everybody doing this morning? I'm super excited. It doesn't look like there's a big, huge crowd there yet, but people trickling in. It is a good bit of a walk from, I guess, where they can park. Apparently, there's a parking lot right behind them, but I don't think they're allowed to park in there. So we're just endeavoring to give you the best experience when it comes to getting this stuff done. I think that's the stream that I have, I think, Bill. So at least we'll be able to hear the speakers and be able to get everything going. Yeah, that's the same one I have. All right. So looks like we're getting ready, but here, let's listen to Logan. He's walking somewhere.
Too fat for us.
Oh, you know what? This may be no longer live.
Oh yeah, dude, it's like a cooler. It's like a freezer in your house.
Yeah.
Look at this posse right here.
Trickling in. Hey, Ian. Bill, Pam, Robin.
Group of mongrels.
Group of mongrels.
A group of mongrels. Yes, that's what we are. Let's see. Let's see if he... Grimm's been tweeting already. Well, so he's got a new one. Hey, there's me. I guess I could just do Logan. Oh, there we are.
Is Turk here? Oh, I would assume if he's not here, he's coming. What's happening, Tom? Tom, everybody. What's up, man? We're here.
I was trying to search for you. I'm like, Jesus.
Yeah, I just started. I know, you killed my...
This is like a Square video.
A last phone here with a screenshot of a...
So, we are, like I said, we're not there, so we can't make shit happen until it happens. But we can look at some other stuff. Let's see. Try to get everything ready. Here we go. This one. We'll use this one. Yeah. So Phil had a good video prepping. So let's do this.
I don't care about the lighting, but just tell me what's going on here, Sherwin. So what's the layout like?
So layout's doing well. We've got guys from all stage. They're absolutely amazing. They do a really good job. They're setting up the stage right now. It's got to be done a certain way so that the audio does not go directly towards the White House. So it has to be angled off a little bit to the side. We've got our EMT tent that's already established with our hand sanitizer station. Also with our 500 free masks, so we don't forget any masks. Other than that, things are going well. We just got to finish up with the stage. Then we get the area set up around the stage for the speakers. Then we'll put the protest signs on the side so that when you come by, you can pick up the free protest sign and you can keep it and take it home with you.
Okay.
Less stuff for me to also take it back home.
Right.
But either way, it works out great.
So we're doing a lot of this virtually too, as well, because of what's going on with COVID. So we're streaming where today?
So we'll be streaming on YouTube, Twitch, and Facebook.
Okay.
I'll get the exact details on that in a bit.
Okay.
But yeah, we're doing that right now. We're getting that set up as we speak.
Well, great luck. Best of luck with you. Best of luck to all of us with this event, right?
Yeah.
And fantastic job putting this all together and coordinating everything.
I appreciate it, man. And for those that cannot make it, the best thing that you can do is, one, share the live stream, and number two, we have a call to action that I posted on my personal page, Sherwin Mena, also on United Vapers Alliance. You'll probably see it. We're just basically calling the White House switchboard, saying we vape, we vote, and just hang up.
Let me ask you one more thing, okay? So after this whole event is over, because I'm not sure if I'm going to go live with this now or if this is going to be part of like a recap video. What can people do after this? How does this continue? How does this go on?
As far as it continuing, we still need to go ahead and put pressure. We'll do a follow-up campaign. We'll have our PR firm that we're working with. We'll coordinate something with them where we can send most likely emails to the White House to follow up with this and keep the pressure on. But right now, that's the main thing that we're really working on is working, doing the call to action today with follow-up in the following days in conjunction with our PR firm.
Good. Well, good luck to you. Good luck to us all.
All right, appreciate it. Thank you.
So that was obviously filmed earlier. It looks like more people are showing up and getting ready. Thanks, Ian. So we're definitely gearing up. I mean, I think there are maybe, I don't know what the time thing is. It's 11:15 here in Texas. And I know that they were supposed to start at noon, or I thought they were going to start at noon. So they may be getting ready. Hey, that must be Vita News. Vita News is there. So they're going to have like really better video than what we're providing for their videos. But hey, we're going to get out what we can get out while it's happening. That looks like Dom there with the camera. I'm just excited that it's happening. I mean, even if the turnout is not as good this time as it was the last time, hey, we're still raising our voices. We're still making it happen. Those people that were able to go should definitely be thanked and congratulated for being able to do it. So, like I said, we're just getting ready. No speakers have gone to the podium. This is live, and we're waiting. That's the worst thing. So while we're waiting, you could go and do the UVA phone call to action, which is happening right now as we speak. They're asking everyone that can't be there to go to the phone and pick it up and call the White House. Say we vape, we vote, and hang up, and do it again, and do it again, and do it again. If you're not there, you can't be counted. So get yourself counted a different way. And if that means making a phone call, which is easy, anybody can do it, then do it. Because, this is it. I mean, this is our stand. People don't quite understand the value of, raising your hand and standing up and saying, no, we're not just gonna lay down and die. We're not gonna lay down and let you take our choices and our freedoms away. So here, this is it. Call 202-456-1414. Wait for them to answer. Say, you know what? We vape, we vote, and hang up. It's that easy. They actually do have a thing where you can go to UnitedVaporsAlliance.org/news and auto tweet this call to action. It's at the point now where we can't be silent anymore. We can't be, ready to accept whatever they say as the be all end all. It's ridiculous that we've gotten this far. We should never have gotten this far. We are literally begging for the privilege to save people's lives. Like literally begging, please let me save people's lives. Please take my money so I can save people's lives. This is ridiculous. Some of these people have everything that their entire life savings, their entire income, their entire future in this industry. Those of us that aren't in the industry, it's ridiculous. Those of us that have made this choice, we're basically laying down and letting the government make all the choices on what we eat, what we drink, how we put things into our bodies. These are our bodies. I mean, this is ridiculous. So yeah, we're not gonna lay down. We're gonna be active on Twitter all day. This is live streaming on Twitter, so if you go on Twitter, just share the stream. If you're on YouTube, I know that Rob and Ian are both in YouTube. Or not, yeah. Share the YouTube on your Facebooks. Just spread this as much as possible. If you don't want to share mine, share the official one.
All right, you guys ready? All right, let's do this. Thank you for coming to the second Save the Vape Rally. We all know why we're here, but let's go ahead and get this started the right way. I'd like to go ahead and introduce Winship. He will be singing the National Anthem for us. We live at the twilight's last gleam, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight on the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streamed. In the rocket's red glare, the bombs bursting in air gave proof through the night that our flag was still there.
Sing does that star-spangled banner yet wave for the land of the free and the home of the brave. Everyone give Winship a big round of applause. Do me a favor, we got a lot of people over here in this corner. If we could kind of like shift it all over here in front of the stage, that would be awesome. Try to practice some social distancing while you're at it at the same time, but that would be great. Awesome, thank you folks. All right, you guys ready? All right, let's go ahead and do this. You guys know why we were here. We were here last year, and we went ahead and we moved the needle. We got notice, and we're doing it again this year because we vape and we vote. 1 year ago, we stood here to make our voices heard. We were a community gathered together to fight for what we know is right. To fight for what we know is right. We're back. And we're fighting for our freedom of choice. Fighting for the truth. Our freedom of choice. Today, fighting for the truth. We are fighting for the very survival of this industry. This life-saving technology, embraced by many nations all over the world, except here in the United States of America. Well, I'm here to tell you that we're not going to go down without a fight because we think and we vote. Non-governmental health organizations and public health can throw as much money as they want trying to discredit this industry and lie to the general public. It won't matter because we're 13 million strong, plus friends, plus families. The majority of us are single-issue voters. That is why we are here today. We'll be here tomorrow, and we will be there on Election Day. In 5 days, the crushing FDA pre-market tobacco applications are due, September 9th. If we do nothing, tens of thousands of small businesses will close shop. But what is most sad is that the FDA promised that they would help small businesses and did nothing. They lied. Well, I'm here to tell the world that we are here to do something about it. If we do not see changes, then we will make the change on Election Day, November 3rd. But all is not lost. There is still hope. And we rely on the thoughtful ears of this president. He heard us last year, and I pray that he hears us today. After September 9th, things can change. The most pressing issue is forcing the FDA to approve all PMTA applications currently submitted. This will keep small manufacturers on the market and in business. As for the immediate future, the United Vapers Alliance would like to see the following. 1, remove tobacco authority from the FDA. The Supreme Court DACA ruling now gives the presidency broader authority regulating tobacco. There is no reason for FDA to regulate tobacco. They need to be approving drugs for their friends. Number 2, place tobacco authority under Health and Human Services with small business representatives included at the table, or a new agency that includes small business representation. Number 3, streamline the approval process to allow small businesses to compete with big tobacco. Look to Europe and the Tobacco Product Directive for guidance. The current system is rigged for big tobacco. Small manufacturers cannot afford the millions of dollars for testing. Mr. President, your platform was based on less regulation and supporting small businesses. We are holding you to this promise. In the hours to come, you will hear from many different speakers. Some will be activists, some are manufacturers, some will be consumers, telling their heartfelt stories. But we will have one thing in common. We are willing to fight for this life-saving technology. This is our final stand. We won't go quietly. We won't surrender. We will hold our ground. We will make ourselves heard. We're 13 million plus friends, plus family. We will survive because we vape and we vote. So, thank you very much. I'll go ahead and introduce our next line of speakers. But I just want you all to know, thank you all for coming here. For those of you who are watching this live stream, there's a couple things that you can do. Number 1, definitely go ahead and share this on social media. The world needs to hear us. There's a lot of people that want to be here, but obviously couldn't. A lot of them because of COVID, a lot because of financial reasons, but whatever the case, know that there are millions of people that are supporting what we're doing right now, and we need your support at home. So please go ahead and share this on social media. Number 2, there is a call to action. If you go on to the United Vapers Alliance webpage, there is a call to action there, unitedvapersalliance.org, or on the Facebook page, United Vapers Alliance. Go ahead, follow the call to action. All we ask is go ahead and call that switchboard, say we vape, we vote, and hang up. They're already getting a little pissed at us and hanging up on us already. So we're doing a good job if that's happening. All right, so thank you very much. All right. I'd like to go ahead and introduce our next speaker. His name is Timothy Olsen. He's a consumer. And again, you're going to hear a lot of consumers up here talking about their heartfelt stories. And I think that's important because how many of you started off as consumers? All of us did. We all did. So the fact that we've got consumers telling them how important this life-changing technology is, I think we need to hear it. So please welcome Timothy Olsen.
Hello and welcome. Yeah, what I want to talk about is unity, community, and vape day. I mean, we came together in a way no one else ever has in the past, as far as I can see. I was here last November, and just the feeling alone from being in the crowd last year, I know you can feel it now. It's something different than anything else you've ever experienced before. So, you know, we have a uniqueness about us. Community differs from other communities such in ways that we're driven by, you know, health, prosperity, and trying to increase our health benefits, you know, by choice, unlike other forced areas of, you know, regulation. Family, treatment in the community is, sorry, it's hard to read, even with shops and manufacturers. Name another community where you can go into your local vape shop, and talk to a person and you feel like you're talking to a family member that's helping you out. You're not going to see that in another community. No other business works in that way. And self-regulation, bottle safety caps, cutoffs or your regulated devices and stuff. We implemented that ourselves. We didn't have to have regulation teach us to have a safer product and safer means of getting that product to you. That's something completely different than we've ever experienced before, again, in another industry. So we were ahead of the game for the government stepping in and trying to regulate us. We're beyond what most Chinese regulations are allowed to do in this country. Harm reduction, one thing about harm reduction is this place it's not anti-harm. It's not 100%. It is a reduction of harm. Like as the Royal College of Physicians said, 95% less harmful than combustible cigarettes. But they're changing that number to 97, maybe even 98% as of recently. That's something else too. 95%, that's a big number. That's not a little tiny bit more than, smoking a cigarette. And it's a very effective way to quit smoking. So, safe versus safer is that right there. It's the air you we're breathing right now is not 100% safe. So you can never say anything's 100% safe. So 95% is really close. Potential implementing of the PMTA without non-streamlined regulation. The PMTA interpretation, because of the wording, is very loose. We don't know what it even means by what they have. They don't know what it means, and we know that. We've seen it in the past, like last year when we were fighting for it. They do not understand what they're regulating, and until they have that in place, it's not even intelligent for them to try and regulate something they do not understand. The interpretation, the end of the hardware ingenuity. Think about 10 years ago. We had Sigalites. That's basically it. Look at what we have now. Yeah. If they do the PMTA process, we are done. What you have is what you get if they decide to do it hardware as well. You won't have the chance to have a better product that's safer for you, easier for you to use, or available as well to the new consumer or the consumer that is in a place they can't get it. The end of creativity and selection of e-liquids. How many people had to find their own flavor to find it? Maybe tried a few times before you found it. You tried the tobacco usually first, usually fails. Then you have to find it. Like we all know, some people use root beer or custards to start off. If they implement this, that means you don't have the freedom to have people making these new liquids for you to get a chance to get on the on-ramp or continue your journey into a safer lifestyle. What does this mean for future? Difficulty in obtaining our products. We're going to have a problem with getting anybody new on. As it is, just with the media alone, we have issues trying to get people to start vaping and quit smoking now. What's it going to be like when they pass a regulation that makes it look even worse in the eyes of the people that don't understand what this product does? Smaller companies right now and stuff are struggling during the pandemic. This is not a time to implement something that's going to shut down these smaller companies when they just can't afford the PMTA process. Maybe under normal circumstances, without the pandemic, they might have been able to save up, but they're hurting right now. This is not the time to implement an extension for these people. At the very least, if not a streamlined process, is necessary in order for them to continue business. Ultimately, the consumers will be most affected by this because of the lack of choices, the overall choices of the reasons of vape to succeed as an alternative to smoking. In the end, who fails the most? We already know. Most of the manufacturers, most of the vape shops, they were consumers. They are consumers. So in the end, they suffer, you suffer, we all suffer over this. And it's just because of regulation that they don't understand. Unless they streamline or switch to a better alternative, say maybe something with a council or a regulating party that's actually has someone in there that understands vape and may be a vapor. Would that make sense to anyone else here? What do you guys think? Yeah! And thank you to the crowd. Thank you for being here. Anyone that on the screens and replays, to the UVA for setting this up and putting this on. Advocates, speakers, the industry, as well as the consumers and supporters in the world, because we all know just the vapors aren't the only one to help. You got family members that are happy that you're living a life, healthy lifestyle. You're not going to have cancer because of the vape. If you have COPD, we've seen it reversed in this situation. Tell your stories to people. Let them know your story. That's the most powerful thing. When I go to hearings, that is actually something that's really made my voice heard more than normal, is telling my story.
Well, it looks like we lost the stream. We're going to have to find another one.
Very proud of her. She's done some amazing work in her state.
Well, it sucks. Yep. Don't worry. We're going to get it. We're going to get it. Well, I hope he knows that it went. Come. Well, looks like they lost everybody's lost. That's the one we were using, Tanya. It was live. It's not live anymore. I've checked all the different sources that he was going, hoping to see if it comes back. Or somebody else gets one.
Now, when I found vaping,
here we'll use this one.
So much more for me than just helping smoking. It welcomed me into a community that was helpful, one that looked out for others, and one that deeply believed in tobacco harm reduction. I quickly decided to dedicate my life to helping others quit smoking and started working at a vape shop. I was appalled when I found out cigarettes kill 480,000 Americans a year, and I knew that I needed to spread the word of this life-saving technology. I also started producing events, which gave me the blessing of being able to travel around the country doing something that I love. I was born and raised in Rhode Island, where our state motto is hope. But I'll be honest with you all today and say that I didn't come here with a lot of hope left. My governor, Gina Raimondo, decided to impose a permanent flavor ban on our industry during one of the first weeks of lockdown, while legislation was shut down. And she didn't even have the decency to tell these small business owners that everything they've worked so hard for would be ripped away from them. We found out from a single news article. This is something that we previously defeated for 6 years straight, so it was devastating to say the least. She didn't even give us a fighting chance or have the decency to let people know. Now, my worst nightmare is coming true. People are going back to smoking because of it. This is devastating because smoking rates just hit an all-time low last year. As if things couldn't get worse in 2020, now myself and all of my friends who were once small business owners were having to close our doors for good and apply for unemployment. Our version of the American dream is close to dead, and the ban has already created a bigger, more dangerous black market. It is an unfortunate circumstance that goes to prove that prohibition does more harm than good, and it is important for people to have access to vapor products. We must keep pushing for our voices to always be heard and for PMTA to be reformed. If PMTA goes through on September 9th, thousands of mom and pop shops will be forced to close, as well as thousands of manufacturers. I don't know about you, but my vote in November depends on this issue. It's time to see a change in the world and pave a way to a smoke-free future. And you know what? In times of hopelessness, I always find myself turning to all of you. Throughout the years, I've met so many people that have changed my life for the better and taught me lessons I will take with me everywhere I go in life. I've met people who put every single bit of their life savings into opening vape shops, not to get rich and powerful, but simply to try and help others improve their lives. Yeah. I've met people who were once addicts to the core, turn their lives around and build beautiful businesses and families. Yeah. The examples could go on, but each and every single one of you that took the time to be here today, I want you all to know that you're heroes to me. While many others ran away, you're all still standing here today. Thank you for always putting your hearts first and being on the right side of history. It's really inspiring that even as the world seems to be crumbling, you showed up here to peacefully protest for what you believe is right. To me, this right here in front of us, this is the definition of being an American. And now I'd like to end things off with a personal story. When I was flying to a vape event a few years ago, I kicked the man next to me on my flight in the shin by accident. I apologized and we started talking, and we got into really deep conversation. I opened up to this man about my experiences in the industry and the war that we've been fighting with big tobacco and the government. He shared stories about his life, and I shared stories about mine. He was a very kind man and even grabbed the bags of the people behind him at the end of the flight to help them. Come to find out, this man was Mick Mulvaney, the White House Chief of Staff. But before I knew who Mr. Mulvaney was or what his title was, he told me that I needed to be a voice for my industry. I never thought in a million years that I would end up taking his advice and be here speaking to all of you today. I only hope that this story can inspire some of you to keep pushing and have your voices heard too. Don't you ever forget that we, the people, built this industry. Not big tobacco, not the government. We did. This is our industry. We made history and we save lives every day. And that is something to be proud of. Thank you for the wisdom, the courage, and the inspiration that all of the people I've been able to meet because of this industry have blessed me with. And thank you to all of the American heroes who showed up today. May our voices be heard by the president to help reform PMTA. And may God bless the United States of America. Thank you.
Kara Tibbetts.
Awesome. Give Kara Tibbetts a big round of applause. That was awesome. All right, our next speaker is a manufacturer, small to medium-sized manufacturer who's going through the struggles right now of what the PMTA truly is. So he's got some personal experiences. Please, I'd like to introduce Kyle Adolph, manufacturer of Cream Vapor at Mr. Vape USA. Kyle!
Good afternoon, everybody. All right, this is like my third speech I've ever done, so I'm a little nervous. My name is Kyle Adolph. I'm one of the owners of Mr. Vape USA, Marketplace and Cream Vapor. I've been involved in the vapor industry since early 2013. I'd like to share a little bit of my story with you. I started using chewing tobacco at the age of 21 and started smoking at the age of 23. I come from a long line of tobacco users. Both my parents smoked, my uncles, my aunts, grandparents, everybody in my family. Growing up, I was the sneaky kid in class. My parents smoked in the house. I can remember coming home from school in tears one day because I had been made fun of for smelling so bad. I also remember vowing to myself to never pick up a cigarette. What did my parents do? They started smoking outside. They didn't quit. Nope, that was not an option for them. I'd watched them try to quit before with little success. I'd seen my dad cold turkey, chewing gum, nicotine gum, even medication. Sometimes it would work for a couple weeks, but the end result was always the same. They would pick up a cigarette again. I held strong to my personal vow of not picking up a cigarette for many years, but sometime in my early 20s, for one reason or another, I started using chewing tobacco and smoking cigarettes on occasion. Well, on occasion turned into a pack-a-day habit before I knew it. Would you even expect it? I chose the exact same cigarettes my father smoked. I had grabbed the smoking torch my family possessed for generations, and I was off to the races with it. In 2013, I was introduced to an e-cigarette while at a meeting. That experience left much to be desired, but I saw the potential. I got a glimpse of the possibilities of this incredible technology. From that moment on, my passion for vaping was lit. I started working at a local vape shop and began teaching myself how to make liquid. A few months later, a few friends and I started a company. There were 5 of us at first. We didn't have a lot of money. None of us had ever ran a company, let alone started one from scratch. We were driven, we were motivated, and most of all, we believed in this technology. So we went for it. I can say it was probably one of the best decisions I ever made. Over the years, our company has seen its shares of difficulties. Nevertheless, we have always continued to move forward. What started as 5 owners is now down to 2. We have been fortunate enough over the past couple of years to grow into a new office, warehouse, hire some amazing employees, most of whom still work there to this day. This industry has always had its speed bumps and battles, but the last 12 months or so have been especially hard. Flavor bans, high tax increases, and negative media onslaught after onslaught. Honestly, there were times last year where we barely made ends meet. There were weeks where we did not know we would make payroll. It was day after day of stress and worry. We kept our heads down, the fight in our hearts, and we kept marching forward as best as we could. This year brings its own set of issues, and one major one is just a few days away. On September 9th, the vapor industry as we know it may change drastically. September 9th is the FDA's deadline for filing and submitting the pre-market tobacco application, the PMTA. To be honest, this application process has been anything but manageable. The current PMTA pathway was not intended for small manufacturers and businesses to venture through. The limited testing facilities available, the extreme high cost to navigate this, and other testing, legal fees after legal fees, and so on and so forth. We have worked tirelessly to put together what we feel is a great application with the resources we do have, but even then there are no guarantees. We have been promised a pathway to market for small business like ours and so many others, and here we are 4 days before the PMTA deadline with no such pathway in sight, only broken promises. So here we stand in the 11th hour, together as one. We have fought long, we have fought hard, and I know many of us are tired. However, we will not ever give up. I've seen what this technology can do. We have seen what this technology can do. It can change lives. It has changed mine. It has changed my family's. It changed my whole family's life for the better. There are 13 million former smokers who depend on this alternative, and so many current smokers who deserve that same choice. So Washington, I hope you are listening. If we do not get some kind of PMTA reform, small business across the country will be greatly impacted in an extremely negative way. That ripple effect will be felt far and wide, far beyond just the vapor industry, far beyond just the e-liquid manufacturers and the local vape shops. Many secondary industries and businesses will also be impacted by this. The negative impact will stretch everywhere and will hit like a ton of bricks. The reality of having to walk into my business on Thursday Thursday morning and let our employees know we may no longer have the business literally breaks my heart. And I will not accept that, and that's why I'm here. We need your help, Washington, urgently. We need reform. We need a pathway that is reasonable and feasible. I am someone who will speak with my vote. My vote will be with the one who steps up and speaks up, for the one who wants to help save hundreds of thousands of jobs, for the one who is not afraid to speak up for the 13 million plus vapers who have found an alternative to traditional tobacco, and most importantly, the current smoker who has not had a chance to try vaping yet. We owe it to them. So in closing, we vape and we vote, and let your voices be heard. Thank you, everyone.
Big round of applause for Kyle. That was a great speech. Our next speaker has been a defender of this industry for quite some time. He's a manufacturer. He's also the previous executive director for Safada. Please welcome Mark Anton.
Alright, that's quite all right. I'm gonna put this right out here.
Hell yeah.
Well, good afternoon, everyone. I'd like to thank the United Vapers Alliance, all the hard workers that put this together, and most of all, you for coming out to such an important rally to speak and have your voices heard on such a tremendously important subject. As Sherwin said, my name is Mark Anton. I've been in this industry for over 12 years now. I'm the executive director of the Smoke-Free Alternative Trades Association, and I'm also a manufacturer. Today, we've come to unify our voices against an egregious action by the FDA, one that will close down our access to the products that help us in our fight against smoking. While many businesses have struggled with the requirements of the PMTA, Safada has performed an integral role in participating in a sharing group of over 1,500 companies that are working on their PMTA submissions. An arduous task, to say the least. We've also developed and encouraged businesses to join our responsible industry network, because that allows for the marketing and the post-market surveillance of businesses who apply for the PMTA. But now I'm going to get into the meat of my speech. This is really directed to Mr. President Donald Trump. Mr. President, you have the opportunity to correct a travesty, an injustice by the FDA. We don't want your empathy. We want action from you to protect our businesses, our jobs, and most of all, our God-given right to vape. We demand reasonable regulation, not draconian rules made up in an ivory tower by the FDA, who refuses to come and meet with us, talk with us, understand what it is we are doing here. We're trailblazers, entrepreneurs, job creators, and most of all, Americans. We demand, on behalf of the millions of American smokers, business owners, and workers, that you take action today. For the last 12 years, our industry has developed, produced, and continues to sell life-saving products that the consumer has embraced wholeheartedly. Flavors save lives. If the government works with us, together we can be unstoppable. You've seen this industry grow from nothing, from cigalikes to 14 to 16,000 vape shops, to thousands of e-liquid manufacturers. This didn't exist when I started in 2008. Now, every one of you is helping someone quit smoking. Yet, there's 480,000 plus Americans who die every year. This is the pandemic, and you need to take action now. Mr. President, you have warp speed to help create a vaccine. I can tell you right here, right now, that the vapor industry has already created the solution to help people quit smoking. Embrace this technology, embrace the people of this industry, and help us to move forward to get 35 million additional smokers off of cigarettes. Sorry, old technology. Mr. President, you will be responsible if you do not act for killing hundreds of thousands of jobs and tens of thousands of small businesses. You're a businessman. You know what it takes to function in today's society. You know that the FDA and the regulatory bodies are burdensome. They're impossible for the small business owners. They don't talk to us. They don't help us. So we will remember on November 3rd the actions or inactions of what you do for our industry. And on that, I'm going to encourage all of you with a chant with me for We Vape, We Vote. 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 Thank you very much, everyone. It's been a pleasure to be here, and let's keep fighting. We're not done yet.
There they come with the next one.
Everyone give Mark a big round of applause, please. Our next speaker is an attorney who has done incredible work for the vaping industry. He comes in with a unique perspective on how we can win this fight. Please welcome Greg Troutman.
Hello, Vaping Nation! I gotta tell you, I didn't think we were gonna get to do this today. There's not as many of us here today as there were in November. I guarantee you there's a lot of people watching virtually. Our voice is being heard. And I've got some good news I'm going to share with you here in a minute. You all did something last year, early this year, that was truly amazing. That doesn't happen very often. You took the President of the United States from here on a position, and you moved him here on a position. How did you do that?
By showing up.
By showing up. By making your voices heard. By not shutting up. Every time Trump had a rally, guess what?
We had a rally too.
We had a rally too. When we were here in November, we had no seat at the table before that rally. And after that rally, we had not one, we had 3 seats at the table. Tony Abboud, Greg Conley, and Paul Blair. And let me tell you, they were beasts. They everything that was put at them, they put right back. Okay? We moved the needle. I don't know if you know this or not, but when Trump went to Florida for Christmas, guess what? We were there too. We found out his motorcade route and his golf schedule. And guess what? There were PMTA protesters and flavor ban protesters every day where you drive past us on the way to and from the golf course at Mar-a-Lago. It was enough that the White House press corps was even tweeting about us. That was when the January 2nd guidance came out. Okay? We moved the needle. We had momentum. And then guess what? COVID. It sucked all the air out of everything we're doing. We couldn't do rallies. We couldn't get together. A lot of the stores and manufacturers had to shut down. Unfortunately, we've lost a lot of them. They're not coming back. We've still got a lot of people around. This is why this election and We Vape, We Vote is so important, because here's the good news. Within 60 days, there's going to be a case filed down the road here in the U.S. Supreme Court challenging the deeming rule. Yeah. If that case wins, the FDA gets its nuts cut off. It would take Congress to have to fix the issue. There would be no regulation of this industry at the federal level. We don't want that. And trust me, the people in this city's heads would explode if that happened. Okay? This is why We Vape, We Vote in this election is so important. Because the people that get elected to Congress this November, and whoever gets elected to president, would get to decide how that course goes. Do we want people in office that are going to adopt something that's even worse than the current deeming rule? That's why this election and who you vote for is so important. We Vape, We Vote is important now, and more important now than it's ever been before. So we need to let the man over here hear us today. We need to let his staff hear us. We need to let the people down on the Hill hear us. Yeah. We need to let the people at the Campaign for Tobacco-Free Kids over here hear us. Yeah. We're not going away. This fight is not over. And what we need now is time. We need time to keep this ball in the air long enough to get before the Supreme Court. And the reason why is the court has told us, in other opinions it's rendered recently, that the underlying issue in this case is something it wants to hear. It wants to deal with congressional delegations of authority. It wants to rein in Congress and the agencies. Guess what? We're handing them the perfect case to do it. And I can promise you one thing as I'm standing here today. When that case is filed, all of your voices are going to be heard in that case. The Supreme Court is going to know who you are. I guarantee you, and I promise you that as I'm standing here. So let's tell everybody why we're here today.
We vote! 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 We vote!
And when you go vote in November, you're not speaking just for yourself. You're speaking for the 498,000 people that died last year from tobacco, and died the year before, and the year before, and the year before. And the ones that will die this year, and next year, and the year after. You're not voting just for yourself. You're voting for them too. Let your vote count. Make it mean something. Tell your family members. Tell them how important this issue is. This election is pretty clear. One side has told us how they're going to stand with us. And the other side has told us at least they'll talk to us. Okay? I'm not telling you how to vote. That's your choice. But the issue is pretty clear how the parties come down and how the candidates come down. Make your vote count. It's very important for you and for everybody else you know and love. Let's go vape and let's go vote.
Yeah.
All right, give Greg Chapman a hand. Big round of applause. That was awesome. All right, our next speaker is Tim Andrews. He is from the Taxpayers Alliance and from the Australia Taxpayers Alliance. He's from the other side of the pond, ladies and gentlemen. Please welcome Tim Andrews.
Thank you everyone for coming here today, because I genuinely believe this is one of the most important moral questions of our time. And I don't say this is an exaggeration. If the vaping industry is killed, then millions of Americans will die an preventable and avoidable death. That is what is at stake here. It is at stake at not only thousands of small businesses and the hundreds of thousands of people who depend upon them. But it is the millions of lives that will end if we do not get this policy right. And what could be more moral and more important than something like this? Now, as I was introduced, I'm from the Taxpayers Protection Alliance here in DC, and people ask, what made someone who normally works in tax policy get so passionate and so worked up about vaping? And it was meeting vapers. It was hearing their stories. And I wasn't that interested at first. And then I started hearing people tell me how their lives were saved. I remember one of the first vapers I met telling me how they couldn't get out of bed without coughing up phlegm for half an hour. And within 3 years, they were running half marathons. I remember speaking to people who were told they had years to live and are now in better health than they've ever been in their entire lives. And this is what people want to stop. This is what bigots who hate smokers so much they want them to die, want to smoke, want to stop. And see, despite the fact that we have the science side, they don't care about that. The taxpayer-funded lobbyists against us just don't care. This is why it's so important for We Vape, We Vote to come out and to spread our message and to tell our stories. Tell them to our family, tell them to our friends, and to make sure that the people who make a difference know. Because it's not the journalists, it's not the reporters, it's not the fake scientists pushing junk, fake science in the media. It's going to be the people who live just a couple of 100 yards down that way and work in that building who will make the difference in the end. And when it comes to the vote, this isn't rocket science. If on one side of it you have a candidate who wants you to die and another candidate who wants you to live, it's pretty obvious who you're going to vote for and why vapers are single issue voters. There are more vapers than the margin of error in every swing state in the United States. Vapers can and will change the election if only the people in power actually realize how powerful we all are and the importance of we vape, we vote. So it's not just about how you'll vote. It's about actually getting them to understand this. It's about calling your local representatives. It's about calling your candidates. It's about calling the media. It's about writing to newspapers, telling your family, tell your friends, and get the message out. Because if vaping can and will change the election, we need candidates to come out and stand up and be in support of vapers. We need them to say that the PMTA process, which will destroy almost every single vape store in the US and will lead to millions of people going back to smoking deadly tobacco products, needs to be destroyed and put in the bin. We need policies that stand up for vapers' rights and for vapers' businesses and for the people who have spent their lives fighting for vapers to be able to have access to the products that they want. Thank you again, everyone, for coming here. It's an honor that I was able to speak here today. Please go out, take action, not just on election day, but every single day between now and the election to make sure everyone knows the message, we vape, we vote. Thank you.
We vape, we vote.
We vape, we vote. We vape, we vote. We vape, we vote.
We vape, we vote. We vape, we vote.
All right, give Tim Andrews a big round of applause, please. All right, our next speaker, consumer and also a member of the Georgia Smoke-Free Alliance. Anyone here from Georgia? We got some Georgia people over here. Please welcome Peter Sellers.
Let's adjust this down a little bit. Hi, how are we today? Yeah, come on, let's hear it. Let's give a big round of applause to United Vapor Alliance for putting this together. I'm so honored to be here in front of so many people that I've looked up to and respected for the last 8 years. But I gotta be honest, I'm humbled to be standing in front of all of you, my fellow vapors. Because that's what I am. I'm just a vapor. I don't work in the industry. But I'm up here because I believe in a cause. You know, I hear a lot of talk about we're not united. Well, I got news for you. In some regards, that might be true. But here's what I see. I see that every single one of us here quit smoking thanks to vaping. If that's not united, I don't know what is. I think every one of us here is united against any politician that is going to ban a flavor. All right? That's being united. We're all out here today and across this United States watching this event. All because we know the power of vaping. Let me tell you how I really got involved. How many of you out there remember the very first person you converted to vaping? Raise your hand. How many of you remember that very first one? I'd like to tell you the story about my first person that I helped convert. She was an older lady, a little bit older than me. She'd been smoking for 44 years. Over a few months, she'd seen me vaping. She saw that I wasn't smoking anymore. So she started asking the questions, just like everybody that you've talked to before. And over the next couple of months, she finally made the decision to go and see my good friends, Keith and Sherry Gossett. Bucky's Vape Shop, Columbus, Georgia. She went in there. Bucky got her fixed up with a device. Bucky got her started on some juice. And she walked out of there an ex-smoker. That's what it's all about. Over the next 2.5 years, she and I traded mods, we traded flavors, did everything we could to stay off of those bad cigarettes. And then she called me one day. She said she had to quit vaping. I got scared. I thought, oh my God, she's going back to smoking. But I was wrong. She just come back from the doctor. She had lung cancer. They were going to have to cut out part of her lung. It was so bad. It was a hard surgery and it was a hard recovery. But because she had not been smoking for 2.5 years, she had a better recovery than they expected. 9 months later, she went back for a checkup and they found out they didn't get it all. They were going to have to go back in, cut out some more. Recovery was even harder this time. Even though she'd been non-smoker for 3.5 years now, she wasn't over the first surgery really well. This lady's name is Monica Ribeiro. Monica is an ex-smoker. Monica is an ex-vapor. Monica is a cancer survivor. Monica Ribeiro also happens to be my twin sister. That's why it's personal to me. Monica is watching. Wishes she could be here. But she just started a 3rd round of chemo because it came back after 2 years. So we're praying for her today. I tell you this story because I want you to know that each and every one of you here and all across this United States has a story equally, if not more compelling than mine. Every single one of you has a story that needs to be told. Every single one of you has a story that needs to be told to your city council. Every single one of you has a story that needs to be told to your county commissioners. Every single one of you has a story that needs to be told to your state representatives. Every single one of you has a story that needs to be told to your federal representatives and senators. Every one of you has a story that needs to be told to the family living across the street in our house. Ladies and gentlemen, every single one of you has an incredible story that needs to be told. But most important, every single one of you has a story that needs to be heard. Thank you.
Big round of applause. That doesn't cheer you up. I don't know what will. All right. Our next guest, she's a rock star in my opinion. Love her to death. She is the vice president of the Rocky Mountain Smoke-Free Alliance. Please welcome Amanda Wheeler.
Hey, you guys. Thank you, Sherwin, and thank you to everybody involved in UVA for putting this on, and to all of you guys for taking the time to come all the way out here. As Sherwin said, my name is Amanda Wheeler. I am the president of the Rocky Mountain Smoke-Free Alliance, as well as the executive director of the Arizona Smoke-Free Business Alliance. My husband and I own J-Vapes e-liquid based in Prescott, Arizona. We have 5 vape shops in Arizona, Colorado, and Oklahoma. We're also an e-liquid manufacturer. More importantly, my husband and I are both vapers. Despite going through cancer at 19 years old, I still smoked for 10 more years. Vaping was the only thing that helped me quit. Our business was started in 2011 with the mission of helping other smokers quit combustible cigarettes. Over the years, we have been radically successful in this mission and have helped tens of thousands of adults quit smoking. But now the FDA is telling us that if we don't spend millions of dollars on testing for PMTA applications, we will lose everything we have spent a decade building, and our customers will no longer be able to use the products that so radically changed their lives. The Trump administration recognized an opportunity to save thousands of small businesses across the United States. Earlier this year, the president issued an executive order requiring federal agencies to identify burdensome regulations hindering economic recovery and propose modifications or waivers for the purpose of promoting job creation and economic growth. One FDA regulation that must be on this list to alter is the pre-market tobacco application that would destroy 14,000 small vapor businesses like mine across the country. We can all acknowledge that over-regulation can be the death knell for so many small businesses. At no time in our history is that more evident than right now. The gist of the PMTA regulation lumps small businesses in with big tobacco. Their approach places vapor products under tobacco regulation, although nearly no vapor products actually contain tobacco. Most, if not all, small vapor businesses view themselves as a safer alternative to combustible tobacco. We're dedicated to getting adults off combustible tobacco and stopping youth access. My company is succeeding at this mission. Recent survey data from our customers shows that our average customer age is 49 years old. 88% of our customers have quit smoking entirely. 78% have been cigarette-free for more than a year, and over 45% have been cigarette-free for more than 5 years. It's one thing for our industry to believe our products are safer, but we're not alone. First on the list is FDA themselves, the very government regulatory agency that lumps our businesses in with big tobacco. They want to regulate vaping like tobacco, even though they know it's a safer alternative for adults. The FDA said they view products like e-cigarettes and other forms of novel nicotine delivery to provide a potentially less harmful alternative for currently addicted individual adult smokers than combustible tobacco. But despite FDA's position, despite the fact that they know these products are safer, they still plan to enforce these draconian PMTA requirements. Unfortunately, their inconsistent and arbitrary regulation of PMTA compels vapor and e-liquid manufacturers to submit a new application for every single nicotine product we want to continue selling. And if we don't submit a PMTA by next Wednesday, all of our products must be pulled from the market. While vapor manufacturers are required and actually do adhere to the highest safety standards, we also want to provide the safest and best products available for our customers. Regrettably, PMTA applications on average cost between $5 and $10 million per product. For my business, which has over 2,100 products, the cost to comply with this regulation would surely put us all out of business. The FDA is asking small businesses to foot the bill once again. Talking about over-regulation, the FDA is merely saving big tobacco because it is only big tobacco that can afford all of these testing requirements. Small businesses lose again. My business with 5 stores is no different than the 14,000 other vapor owners who employ 160,000 people throughout this country. But the very regulation meant to control tobacco and vapor use, regardless of how you feel about it, merely put small businesses out of business while strengthening big tobacco's market share. A one-size-for-all PMTA is an effective ban on small businesses and our employees, as big tobacco will not replace those jobs or businesses. But this is about more than just dollars. It's also about our health. The obstacle that small businesses in the vapor industry face with this regulation makes David and Goliath look like a comparatively fair fight. This PMTA is going to wipe out an industry with roughly $24 billion in annual economic activity in this country at a time when we need to be making our economy stronger, not taking jobs away from hardworking people. It seems counterintuitive, however, that nearly 13 million vapers throughout the United States have found vaping products critical to reducing and stopping combustible cigarette use. It's working as cigarette use continues to plummet across nearly every American demographic. We've succeeded at what we set out to do, everybody here. Effectively banning vapor products by destroying the industry through regulation would only drive adults back to smoking cigarettes and reverse all of the good that we've done in the last decade in this industry. Across the country, hundreds of small businesses have made a Herculean effort to submit as much information for PMTA as possible. However, most of these applications fall short on the multi-million-dollar testing requirements. It's highly unlikely that my 5 little vape shops will put the big guys out of business, but the regulation the FDA is considering only goes one way. It saves big tobacco and kills small businesses. I believe this runs counter to the president's recent executive order. Ours is an industry worth saving, and now there's an easy way to do so. Our industry is asking President Trump and his administration at HHS and FDA to acknowledge that one size does not fit all when it comes to PMTA. We are calling on the FDA to create an attainable, streamlined PMTA pathway for small businesses, as we have been promised for over a year without results. The fate of 14,000 businesses and 13 million vapor votes is on the line. As you can see, we're all watching. When we go to the polls in November, we will remember which candidates defended our rights, and we will also remember who stood by and did nothing. We vape and we vote. Thank you all for joining us today. We're all in this together, and together we will prevail. In the words of Kara, God bless America.
We vote! We vape! We vote!
We vape! We vote! We vape! We vote!
We vape! We vote! We vape! We vote!
All right, give a big round of applause for Amanda. All right, our next speaker, he's Director of Consumer Freedom for the Reason Foundation. This is his first time speaking here at one of the events for the rally, but he's a staunch advocate and defender of our industry.
Guy Bentley.
Guy Bentley.
Ladies and gentlemen, it's an absolute pleasure and an honor to be speaking in front of you today. And thank you so much to all of you for coming out and braving the DC swampland sun. And I can say it's a particular pleasure to be speaking at a protest and a rally in this town that is not asking for a subsidy, that is not asking for a bailout, that is not asking for protectionism, but simply for the right to compete on a level playing field in a free market with those companies that have billions of dollars and the best lobbying operations in this town. What all of you are asking here today is for the FDA to ease an impossible regulatory process, a regulatory process set in motion by the Tobacco Control Act. Mitch Zeller, the director of the FDA's Center for Tobacco Products, called the TCA historic and said, I quote, the role and demonstrates the role and power of regulation. I totally agree with Mitch. It shows the power of regulation not to protect consumers, but to destroy small businesses and limit choice. And because of this regulatory nightmare, 14,000 small businesses or more could shut their doors in the middle of a recession, with more than 100,000 jobs lost and 99% of vapor products possibly disappearing from the market. And that's disappearing from the legal market. But of course, as with all prohibitions, there will be an illicit market for these products. And we will see many vapors return back to smoking with choices denied to them. And we've already seen this year with the onslaught of misinformation, the partial ban at the federal level and bans in individual states. We've seen from Altria's latest earnings report that older people who had switched from cigarettes to vaping are now switching back to cigarettes. The PMTA process is ostensibly intended to protect public health, to ensure that new products approved are appropriate for the protection of public health. This act was meticulously designed by what we are told are wise, public-spirited experts. Well, this law and these regulations resulted in a system where it is easier in the United States for a new cigarette to come onto the market than for an e-cigarette to come on the market. Some wise regulation that was. But the devastation to the vaping industry is not just an unintended consequence. We often talk about unintended consequences of regulation. This was the entire purpose of the Tobacco Control Act and the regulations e-cigarette products are being forced to go to. The process is designed to keep out new entrants to the market, and we shouldn't be surprised by that. Who were the biggest boosters of the Tobacco Control Act? Campaign for Tobacco-Free Kids, of course, and they found a great ally in Philip Morris. It's not for nothing that the TCA was nicknamed the Marlboro Monopoly Act, with Philip Morris trying to cement its position as the leading provider of tobacco products in this country. And they got a double whammy. They didn't know that the e-cigarette revolution would be as wide and successful as it is. And now they have a regulation which can keep out smaller competitors and consumers. Now, nobody here wants to ban any other competitor of a safer, reduced-risk product, be it from a tobacco company or otherwise. All people are demanding here is a regulatory process that doesn't bankrupt you for having the temerity to compete. Contrary to the claims of the advocates of PMTA process, this will do nothing to protect youth from tobacco products. As the data from the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention shows, it is not the availability of flavors, product design, or even advertising why youth experiment with vaping products. It is curiosity and peer pressure, a story as old as the hills and applies as much to alcohol and marijuana as everything else. Now let's not forget where e-cigarettes came from. They were not invented thanks to a government research and development grant or even from big tobacco. It was because of a Chinese pharmacist called Hon Lik who almost 20 years ago invented a way for himself to stop smoking. And what he did sparked an innovation revolution that created tens of thousands of businesses across the world, improved products, and millions of ex-smokers. But now, thanks to this bureaucratic process, compromised by industry and ideologues, the US is about to hobble one of the greatest public health advances in the last 100 years. And now, as of yet, as you know, the only electronic product, reduced risk product so far approved by the FDA is the IQOS tobacco heating system, brought to you by Philip Morris. Surprise, surprise. In the years up to now, we've had to put up with waves of misinformation. During the height of the Ebola epidemic, the then head of the World Health Organization, Margaret Chan, as this was going on, said tackling vaping should be one of the World Health Organization's main aims. We heard that vaping would renormalize smoking. It didn't happen. We heard that vaping was going to be a gateway to youth smoking. We've just seen the latest figures. Youth smoking has never been lower in the history of this country. And now you can set your watch by these false claims. Now we hear that vaping is more likely to give you COVID. This study was debunked literally within an hour of its publication, and yet is being cited as fact by the New York Times as recently as yesterday. What you're protesting here is not just against a minutiae of government regulation. This is about demanding that people who choose a safer alternative to cigarettes will not be the latest in the long line of victims of America's longest war, the war on drugs. Because this is no doubt a crusade to put nicotine as exactly part of that war on drugs. Last year in Congress, Matt Myers, the head of Campaign for Tobacco-Free Kids, said he was opposed to the legalization of marijuana. And he said most people in tobacco control were as well. So anybody else who thinks they don't have in this fight, and we think we've made progress in tackling the war on drugs when it comes to marijuana, the exact same groups who are trying to crush this industry today will be trying to crush the legal marijuana industry just as soon as they're able to through the exact process that we are protesting here today. Now, I've seen, as many of you have, the consequences of switching from smoking to vaping in my own family. My mother switched from smoking to vaping several years ago, and now she just passed her 70th birthday. The FDA must reverse its course of action, which is laser targeted to destroy the independent part of this industry, thousands of small business, and unemploy tens of thousands of Americans. This industry is not asking for special privileges, just the ability to comply with the rules and compete. And this fight is not over. It will not be over so long as you make your voices heard, fight for free competition and free enterprise. Thank you so much, and good luck.
Guy Bentley.
All right, let's give a big round of applause, everyone. All right, our next speaker is a consumer activist. He fights passionately for this industry, and he speaks directly to in the cloud comp scene, particularly in the Georgia area. Please welcome Akil Palmer.
This is short. There we go. DC, thank you for having me. Thank you all for being here. Again, my name is Akil Parmar, and let me quickly make a couple of things extremely clear. I'm not a stakeholder in this industry. I have no skin in this game. I don't own a vape company. I don't own a juice company. I don't any of that. I just don't. I'm an average consumer like most of you. It's hard as a consumer to come out and speak when there are so many others that have such passionate stories, such incredible losses due to the gross and negligent overreach of the FDA. To see people that I know personally when I go state to state, when I compete, when I travel, to see them all shutter their doors because of this nonsense is incredibly stupid. I don't understand why any of this should exist. We are the ones that made this industry. We are the ones that went ahead and did all of the groundwork. We self-regulated. We tried to get in front of every stupid thing that happened. And yet what do we face? We face stupid governmental regulations that did nothing but destroy everything we built, everything we worked for. And for what? Because they couldn't get their blood money from us? Are you out of your mind? I don't get it. It does not sit right with me as a consumer to watch these stores, to watch these independent people that sunk so much of their own money, took out loans that would utterly destroy them, and they closed. And for what? What did we do to deserve that? We saved lives? We saved lives. We helped people quit smoking, and for that, we are punished. That is unacceptable. Mr. President, you can change this. You have the power to go ahead and act on the behalf of we, your people. We are here on our lawn in front of our house to tell you how we feel. And how we feel is agitated, but more than that, we feel so betrayed. The president that champions small business has left us out to dry, and that is not acceptable. So I am here to plead with you, to ask you, please protect small businesses, protect the smoker, and let us do what we do best, to convert smokers, to save lives, and to ensure that the health of America, as far as we can have an impact, will be safe and secure. Let us take care of that. Give us the opportunity to do so. And with that, just we vape and we vote, damn it.
We vote. We vape. We vote. We vote. Louder. They don't hear you by there. In the back.
We vote.
on Twitter and Facebook and Twitch. We're streaming live. So I know there are people out there that are watching this right now. I know a lot of you feel the same heartfelt emotions from a lot of these testimonials. You want to help us? I know you can't be here. Share this live feed everywhere. Okay? Share this everywhere. Do the call to action. We are shutting down the phone lines almost over the White House switchboard. They're hanging up on us. So we must be doing something right. So our next speaker is a consumer. He's based, or was based out of New York, was it? Yep. His name is Jeff Berry. Please welcome Jeff Berry.
Thank you, everybody, for coming out. Sherwin kind of got it a little backwards. I was a small manufacturer. I did have 3 shops in Pennsylvania in 2016. I had 3 shops in New York and right up to last month. What we're trying not to do, why we're here, is to have what happened in New York, in Rhode Island, and New Jersey, and Massachusetts, not happen everywhere else. So I stand here before you because there's still hope. There's hope, there's choice, there's chance, and there's change. I did not want to chance that I would not be able to see my children grow up. That's why I started vaping in 2009. I believed in this product. I believe in what it does. I believe in what it can do still. I changed my whole business plan, my whole life when I discovered vaping. I was a small business owner. I did logistics. I did shipping and delivery and stuff like that. And I believed in this product for so much. I tried everything to quit smoking. And vaping was the only thing that helped me. Like a lot of you, I did the Chantix and the patches and the gums and all the NRTs. So, and before I did it, before I started vaping, I educated myself on what the product was. As much as education as you could back in 2009. I discovered the product's 95 to 97% safer. There was no real information out then. But I knew it was better than smoking. And that's all that mattered to me. So if I could show someone else how to quit smoking by just simple vapor, I thought, what a simple concept. So now, 2020, yes, it is my phone. So, sorry about that. So, as a manufacturer, small manufacturer, I did some of the things that were asked of me by the FDA. I changed my labels. Well, my labels weren't really ever bad, but I complied with what the FDA asked me to do, with labels, ingredient listings, with just about everything they asked. And now the PMTAs are coming up. I can't move forward. A lot of us can't move forward. It's just too expensive. So I stand here pleading that I can continue to help save other people's lives. The 480,000 next year, like the people before me have said. It means something. This product is more than money. So I asked Mr. President, this isn't about money for most of us. It shouldn't be about money for the FDA, but it is. All we're asking is a chance to help change the future of smokers. That's it.
All right, give Jeff a big round of applause, please. All right, our next speaker, ardent supporter of our industry, hand in hand, Paul Blair, American Tax Reform. Go ahead and please give a round welcome.
Paul Blair.
It's great to be back. My name is Paul Blair. I'm with Americans for Tax Reform. Hopefully many of you are familiar with the work that our organization does, but we are not a vaping industry group. We're not a vaping consumer group. We're a taxpayer advocacy organization. And I handle our work on tobacco harm reduction and have for the last, 8 years or so. Tim Andrews talked a little bit about this earlier, but why are there organizations like Reason or Taxpayer Protection Alliance or the Competitive Enterprise Institute that care about this issue, that care about things like PMTA or care about the regulation of vapor products at the local, state, federal, and even international level? And the reason is because we're motivated by questions around freedom, around questions like consumer choice, around questions about how the free market can solve public policy issues and questions and concerns. And across the country, for years, taxpayers have spent billions of dollars because of the costs borne as a result of smoking. And 10 years ago, when vaping really began to take off in the US, it became clear that the free market may have had a much better solution to the question of how to get millions of adult smokers to reduce their dependence on a deadly habit and pick up something that could be a lot less harmful. Now, at the time, if you've been in the industry or vaping for that long, anecdotally, you knew that it was a lot better. It took some time, though, to get an increasing amount of validating evidence, both internationally and within the US, to confirm what we knew, that this is a much less harmful alternative to smoking. But along the way, there are organizations and individuals who don't view the world in the same way that I do or that many of you do, which is that consumers often can solve their own problems simply by transitioning away from deadly products to ones that may be a lot less deadly. And they don't believe in free markets. They don't believe in businesses having better solutions than people in the White House or people at the FDA or people in all the various government buildings around this town. Because this town was created not to look to the rest of the country, not to look to businesses to solve problems. This town was literally created to solve problems that they thought individuals, businesses, families couldn't solve themselves. And so they view everything in Washington as something that they have to solve. And what we know, what right of center political activists know, what libertarians know, what conservatives know, and I think increasingly even some progressives know, is that the government generally only does one thing, and it screws everything up. And this came to a real head last year in Washington, D.C. for everyone that's here and everyone that's watching, when this industry and its millions of consumers faced the greatest threat it has faced since the emergence of these products in the U.S. and around the world. And that was the question of banning every single product that you probably are using right now, or that your shops sell, or that your consumers have ever sold. And the public health activists sought to take advantage of a scare campaign and scare tactics pushed by people who didn't care about the facts, who didn't care about the evidence, who didn't care about what was actually getting people sick a year ago, but only cared about one ultimate objective, and that was banning all of the products that exist that this industry sells. And initially, it looked pretty bad. It looked like the White House, it looked like HHS, it looked like FDA was going to listen to these people who said, we have to ban these products, that your consumer choices are not as important as the lives of a few people who might be using the products you sell that are getting them sick. Now, we knew at the time, it's not the legal products on the market that were getting people sick. It was, of course, black market products. It was products people were getting from their friends. they were getting on the black market from drug dealers. We knew that. But we knew that they were taking advantage and they were aided by those in the press who did not care about the facts, who did not care about the lives that were on the line. Now, I want to go back to a story that Kara told because it's important and part of what ultimately happened. So 2 days after the president's September 11th announcement in the Oval Office that they may be banning these products, a lot of people here were calling the White House. Greg, among others, were on TV, myself included. We were writing op-eds about how this might result in the ultimate defeat of Donald Trump if he moved forward. And part of that was because we knew how many vapors there were in states like Minnesota, in states like Colorado, in states like Florida. And what we argued at the time was, you clearly aren't looking at the facts. You're clearly not interested in investigating what's going on here. So let's go to the question of what 13 million people care about. And that's the ultimate decision you made. And so 2 days after the president's announcement, he tweeted, there were some all caps in there. I like vaping, all caps, as an alternative to smoking, all caps, for adults. And in 48 hours, the president had essentially gone from, we're going to ban all these products, to actually, I embrace tobacco harm reduction. So we knew something was going on. We knew the White House was getting a lot of calls. We knew a lot of emails were going on. Well, I had the fortune of having a dinner with Mick Mulvaney that Monday night, the following Monday. And what he said was that the president has read your op-ed. He's seen you guys on TV. He really likes the case you're making. Keep up. Now, I don't think that Mick Mulvaney's understanding or compassion or assessment of what was going on at the time may have been so informed if he perhaps had not had the sort of conversation he had with Kara at the time. And I use this as an example to suggest that it's not people like me. It's not people like Greg. Well, sometimes it's people like Greg, but it's not always the people who you see on Twitter, you see on TV, or you see at the White House that make a difference. It's your individual stories. Because what we were told the week after the president's announcement last September is that we want more consumer stories. We want those 45-second, 30-second videos of small businesses from Pennsylvania and Wisconsin and Michigan and Florida telling us how important it is that these products exist. Your anecdotes, your personal stories are the reason that we won this fight with the White House last year. And part of that was not only because you told the story of how vaping had saved your life, but because you told them you were voters, that you were vapors, and that this was your vote-determining issue. And as Tim pointed out earlier, we know that in a state like Michigan, where Donald Trump won by 10,704 votes, not that I know all of the 17 states and how big the margin was across the country and haven't said that 100 times, but that in all of these states, some cases there are more than 200,000 more adult vapors then determines the ultimate winner of the election in 2016. That message resonated because at the end of the day, suburban Karens are not voting on the issue of whether Chad has access to an e-cigarette. That's a funny story that public health tried to sell last fall, but they weren't successful. And they will not be successful in the future. Because 13 million of you and your family and your friends and your neighbors know how important this issue is. And you vape and you vote. But more importantly than that, you're going to have to remain advocates every day for the rest of your lives because our opponents are funded by people like Mike Bloomberg, who can drop $1 billion to lose a presidential race and it mean absolutely nothing. These people have a lot of money and they will not stop until you quit. And so my message to you is you cannot quit. Regardless of how difficult it is to attempt to go through the PMTA process, regardless of how absurd it is the way that governors treat you or mayors treat you, regardless of pandemics that shut down your shops, whether it has anything to do with vaping or not, you cannot quit because you know that your lives are on the line, your customers' lives are on the line, your family members' lives are on the line, and this is an important issue that is not only a lifestyle issue, but a life or death issue. And that is why I think ultimately you and we will win. So here's my task to all of you in the coming weeks. there is an election in November. And I'm not going to make recommendations to you on who to vote for. You can follow me on Twitter if you really have interest there. But what I will say is that in order for the We Vape, We Vote message to resonate, percolate, and continue beyond this November, you're going to have to do just that. You're going to have to vote, and you're going to have to make sure everyone knows that you voted on the issue of vaping. So if you work in a vape shop, if you have a consumer list, if you know anyone, I want you to begin to register voters in no matter what state you live in. I think that if this industry organized, you could register more than 25,000 voters in swing states without an effort. And the campaigns will notice that. The Biden campaign, the Trump campaign, they will notice that. If you are doing get out the vote drives, if you are doing voter registration drives online, in your shops, however you can, that matters. So it's not only about making sure that you vape and you vote, but that all of your friends, all of your customers, all of your family members do the exact same thing. I want to thank everyone for coming out today. It is often difficult to look at everything going on and have optimism about the future. But I will urge you to look back to September 11th, September 12th, September 13th of last year and think about what this industry faced. That within 30 days, every product on the market that you sell and you use could have been illegal, but you organized and you activated and you told your story. And working against the FDA or with the FDA is going to be hard. It's going to be difficult, but I believe that we can apply the sort of pressure both to the Food and Drug Administration and this administration that will force them to work with businesses in a way that they haven't in the last 4 years. They've made some concessions. They have not done what we need them to, but I believe that if you continue to press your case, we can succeed. Thank you very much. God bless America.
Give a big round of applause. All right, we got some great speakers coming up. So if everyone is in the back, if you guys could move forward, please, up to the front, that'd be great. I'd appreciate it. So our next speaker has been in this industry almost from the very beginning. She's been one of the original activists with the vaping militia. I love her to death. She's like a mother. She's our mother. She's the vaping mother.
Robin Barsky.
Robin Barsky, please.
When they first talked about doing this with me, Tristan can tell you I sent him a message and asked him if I needed to bring a step stool. Seriously, because I was afraid that I wouldn't be tall enough to reach. Are we good there? Can you guys hear me? Okay.
We love you, Robin!
Aw, I love you back. So I'm not a political person. I'm just not. But I felt like I needed to bring this with me today just because. And you won't all be able to see it, but it's my voter's registration from Pennsylvania where I live. If you don't have one, please get one. It's important, it matters. And politicians don't care what you think unless you vote for them, because if you don't vote for them, they don't have a job and they don't get all that money that they're making. Bottom line, straight up. So please be registered to vote and then go out and do it. The next thing that I want to say is thank you to all these guys that put this event together. They did an amazing job. Some of you may or may not know that we don't all talk to each other very much, really, but they pull us together because we're on the same side. And I'm a believer that the enemy of the enemy is my friend, you know? And so we're all here together. Like Sherwin said, my name's Robin Barsky. I have been around the industry for quite some time. I don't work in the industry. I don't manufacture, sell, any of that stuff. I'm a mom. I'm a consumer. I'm a vapor. I'm a nurse. And I smoked for 29 years. And that's why I'm here. You know, I don't have lots of statistics for you. I don't have all kinds of ways to explain regulations to you, but what I have is passion. And I think right now passion really matters, you know? So
They wanted me to tell you a little bit about me, how I got here, all that stuff, and I'll do that. And I hope that what you'll take home with you today is some passion so that you can keep fighting. Yes. So yeah, my name is Robin Barsky. I did smoke for 29 years, and one day a friend brought me a starter kit. It was this little twist battery thing with this awful little disposable cartomizer on the top. And he said, it's time for you to quit smoking. And I said, you know, I kind of like smoking. I've been doing it a long time. And he said, you smoke too much. I was smoking 2.5 packs of Marlboro Reds a day, which, you know, it's a lot of cigarettes. I knew better. You know, I've been a nurse for 30 years at this point, and I certainly knew better. I did oncology nursing, gave people chemo, and I've been a nurse long enough that they could smoke in the hospital in a little corner room that was, you know, a smoking lounge. And I had people that I was giving chemo to who sat and smoked while the chemo was running in, because this is such a strong addiction, you know. So I did that. I worked in emergency nursing. I've typically worked with a lot of people at the end of life. I worked on a ventilator unit a few years ago. 30 people on ventilators, mostly because of smoking, you know, and what we tried to do was get them off. And every nurse has a patient that she'll remember forever, and one of mine was in that unit. And he was a smoker. He was like 40s, and he dropped with a heart attack because of his smoking. He'd been in the hospital. They put him on a ventilator. They had to put a trach in because he'd been on the vent too long. And that's how we got him. We worked hard and we weaned him off that ventilator. And when he could get up and walk outside, he went outside, he bummed a cigarette, and he smoked it through the trach. I'll never forget it because I walked outside to vape, you know. And I liked him. I sat and talked with him for a while, and I asked him if he'd be willing to try vaping. And he said, okay, that his wife would be happy about it. And that, you know, if he thought he could quit, that would maybe be a good way to go. He wasn't even aware of it. He was from like some tiny little town in like nowhere, Pennsylvania. So I gave him a starter kit, and I gave him some liquid. I gave him a bunch of stuff. And when he went home, I gave him like a regular mod and, you know, a tank and some coils and some liquid and my phone number. And that was in 2017. He still vapes. He still vapes. Yeah. You know, so he's a success story to me. He makes me happy. And, you know, a lot of my passion comes from that place, just my passion as a nurse, you know. I think the biggest thing I want you guys to take home today, again, is my passion. I want you to understand how important it is to keep fighting, you know. We got to fight. We've been fighting for a long time. I've been fighting for, next week will be 7 years since I smoked my last cigarette. Yeah, that I didn't want to quit. Like literally, my friend Wayne gave me a starter kit on a Friday night. I said no. He said please. I said okay. I'll try it over the weekend. That Monday morning, I stopped at 7-Eleven to buy a pack of cigarettes because I'd been doing both all weekend. Took out a cigarette, lit it, took a drag, and threw it, and never smoked again. You know, this is a miracle to me. I've been through gum, lozenges, patches, Wellbutrin, so many things, and nothing worked. This is a miracle to me, and we have to keep fighting for it because it matters. You know, you guys matter, I matter, we all do. And I'm going to ask you to fight. Keep fighting, don't give up. Fight as hard as you can, and when you're tired of fighting, fight a little bit more. Fight like you're fighting for your life, because you are. Thank you.
Get a big round of applause. Robin is awesome. She's got tons of experience, and she's always willing to help whenever she can. So, love her to death. All right, our next speaker needs no introduction, but I will introduce him anyways. Everyone knows him as the Vaping Greek. He is the president of the Tennessee Smoke-Free Association, Dimitri Agrafiotis.
I have a posse.
Yeah!
He doesn't know how to operate a banner, apparently. We're going to get blown away. What a great honor to be around ex-smokers. It is for me. My name is Dimitris Agrafiotis. I'm the executive director of the Tennessee Smoke-Free Association and an ex-smoker.
10 years ago, at the age of 38, I made the decision to switch to vapor products using a delicious decaying sour apple flavored e-liquid after trying every available other option that was recommended by our public health officials and failing every time. You see, my father passed away in 1973 at the age of 39 due to smoking, and I was quickly approaching that age. Although switching to vapor products has greatly benefited my health, as confirmed by my doctor, and improved my quality of life, a proudly now smoke-free life, I do have one simple regret: that this technology was not around in 1973. Who knows? Maybe my dad would still be around to see his granddaughters graduate, get married, and maybe even have kids of their own. My dad was a statistic in the devastating loss of life every year due to smoke. Cigarette smoking is responsible for more than 480,000 deaths per year. Think about that for a moment. 480,000 people die every year. That's more than alcohol, drugs, and guns combined. It also induces a $170 billion burden in annual healthcare costs for treating illness caused by tobacco smoking. I'm here to tell you today, for years your government has told you to quit or die. For years your government has told you it's easy, just follow their guidance. For years your government peddled their low success rate patches, gums, and Chantix, receiving money from pharmaceutical companies to maintain the failure charade. For years, your government has told you cigarettes will kill you while signing the Master Settlement Agreement, which guarantees cigarettes will always be on the market. For years, your government has been lying to you, including our U.S. Surgeon General, Jerome Adams. You know I was going to get that in there, right? When we finally found a way to quit with nicotine vapor products that emit no smoke, the real killer in cigarettes, nor contain any tobacco, your government wants to take it away. A consumer-driven solution to the cigarette addiction with the potential to change the course of public health, not only in the United States, but throughout the world, is being attacked. The ability to participate in the free market to technologically advance products and make them more affordable, safer, and accessible to smokers is being destroyed by the government. You want to know why? I want everybody to do me a favor. Raise the device that you have here with you, that you brought here to this rally, up in the air. Sorry, we didn't rehearse that. The government is asking small companies to spend a minimum of $480,000 for every component you're currently holding to comply with the PMTA process. That's right. Every tip, every tank, every liquid, every coil, every device, every battery, and yes, every little blue screwdriver. $480,000 minimum for approval by the FDA to protect your health. Who knew that your health had a price? They also, of course, want to protect the corrupt global economy they have created based on the greedy desire for people to continue to smoke and die. I have had enough, and you should as well. It is time for us to take a stand. Who's with me? It is time for us to tell the FDA to do their job as it was intended to and protect the health of the population without having to pay to play. It is time for public health officials to encourage American smokers to switch to vapor products since the science is clear. It is at least 95% less harmful than combustible tobacco. It is time for the Department of Health and Human Services to protect the health of 480,000 humans that die from smoking every year. It is time for us to vote out of office any politician that puts special interests, money, and influence over America's health and small business. It is time, Mr. President, because we vape and we vote. Thank you for having me.
We vape!
vote. We vape. We vote. We vape. We vote. We vape. We vote. We vape. We vote louder. All right. Let's give a big round of applause for Dimitri. Our next speaker is directly behind me. They come in as a pair.
I want to get one free.
Please welcome Phil DeSardo.
Hi. So before I get to my speech, thank you very much for the UVA having me. And thank you guys for actually showing up. Thank you very much. Give yourselves a round of applause. So Dimitri had you hold up your devices. I don't want you to hold up your device. I just want you to look at it for a minute. Just look at it. And I want you to thank your device. And I want you to give your, because we've been doing a lot of rounds of applause, I want you to give your device a round of applause. I want you to give your tank a round of applause. I want you to give your dripper a round of applause. I want you to give your pod a round of applause. I want you to give that delicious flavored e-liquid a round of applause. It is because of this, you can put the mic. It is because of this that we don't have cigarettes in our hands. And that's what we're fighting for. Okay, so my name is Phil DeSardo, and I'm 51 years old. On July 7th of 2009, I was able to quit my cigarette habit when all traditional methods failed with vaping. I have been a happy and healthy vapor ever since. And I am very proud to be with you here today. I'm proud to be a vapor. But I'm not here to talk to you. Not a single one of you. Why? Because you already know the truth. You have already found the path to tobacco harm reduction. I'm here fighting so that your path may continue and so that other adult smokers may find that path. So I'm here today to talk to the general public. I know what a lot of you think about us. We're a bunch of dirty vapors and dirty smokers who don't have any rights, who should just go away and die. But we're not. We're brothers and we're sisters. Yeah. We're mothers and we're fathers. Yeah. We're aunts and we're uncles. We're grandfathers and grandmothers. We're blue collar. We're white collar. We're people. Yeah. We're just people. People who deserve the right to choose and use the product and flavor that works to keep them off of cigarettes. Yeah. You know, the same as you have the right to go into any Starbucks of your choice and have a tasty, flavored, caffeinated beverage of your choice to get through the day, we should have the right to use nicotine in a safer method. So we're just people. We're people who are trying very hard not to die of cancer. And you're making that difficult for us. So today I also want to talk to the news media. I would love to know how many people you are directly responsible for going back to cigarettes because of your misguided, fear-mongering, inaccurate reporting. I would love to know how many people are afraid to give up their cigarettes and give vaping a chance for the same reasons. I would love to know how many deaths you are directly responsible for. Because of vaping, I've learned not to trust mainstream media. And that's sad. So I'm asking you, restore my trust. I'm asking you to be fair. I'm asking you to be accurate. I'm asking you to be honest. I'm asking you to investigate what you're reporting. In other words, I'm asking you to do your, this is where an expletive would normally come in, jobs. And finally, I'm here to talk to the men and the women in the buildings around us, our government. I want to say to them, as adult American citizens, we should have the rights and the freedoms to choose and use a flavor and device that is to get us off and keep us off traditional tobacco cigarettes. Variety It's what keeps people engaged. It's what keeps people off of the cigarettes. But the burdensome PMTA process will remove that variety. Not only that, it's going to cause businesses to close. It's going to cause people to lose their jobs. It's going to cause American manufacturing, American manufacturing to go away. It's going to kill people. We're not smoking. We need our own process. And if vaping is 95% safer than smoking, then that process better damn well be 95% cheaper and 95% easier than the current burdensome PMTA process. We are adults. We are American citizens. We have our rights and freedoms. And here's what I was going to say. We vape, we vote. But I want you to do something. I want you to do me one more favor today. I want to do the chant one more time, but I don't want you to look my way. I want you to look at that house right over there. And I want you to take out all your anger and all your frustration to what they're doing to this industry. And I want you to tell them, we vape, we vote, we vape,
We vote! We vape! We vote! We vape! We vote!
We vape! We vote! We vape! We vote!
Thank you guys. Thank you.
Wow. Phil is awesome. And he doesn't know it.
Thank you, Phil. All right, our next guest speaker, president of the Ohio Vapor Trade Association, personal friend of mine, incredible advocate.
James is going to cry.
Industry than anyone I've ever seen. James Jarvis.
Like it. Good afternoon, Washington, D.C. We vape. We vote. We vape. We vote. I stood on this stage on November of last year. We were facing certain death in this industry because of the threat of a flavor ban. We had thousands of people show up here. They couldn't afford it. They shut down their businesses. They took a couple days. They came down here to support something that has given them their life and their freedom back. We came down here to tell the president at that time that we vaped and we vote. The message is still the same. We are facing certain death right now because of an onerous, ridiculous, cost-prohibitive PMTA process that will let us keep our businesses that we started in the first place without their permission. This industry has saved millions and millions of lives. You guys are all success stories. I am not. I did not smoke. I am up here and I pour my heart out every time I go to a meeting. Not because of I smoked. I lost my grandmother at 16 to lung cancer. That affected me deeply for the rest of my life. I tried to donate to the Cancer Society and be a good person. I tried to give money here, give money there. It's all a lie for those organizations. They don't give a damn about you. All they want is the money. In 2008, I was very fortunate, thanks to my friend Jason. He asked me to be a part of this industry, to start a vape company. I jumped at the chance because I finally found a way that I could give back and avenge my grandmother's death and 480,000 people a year's death because I believed this was the path forward. You guys have responded and you have made it known it's the path forward. You got us noticed. Thank you for what you do. This is a $24 billion industry. 12 years ago, it was nothing. Look what we have done in just 12 years. It's amazing. 166,000 small independent jobs, 15,000 independent businesses. 13 million lives have been changed and saved because of this technology and your efforts and belief in this product. So thank you. Mom and pop business are here to help people quit combustible tobacco and hopefully use their hopeful use of nicotine altogether. We don't hook a new generation of nicotine users. We want to give smokers an option that we know is 95% less harmful and save their life. Yeah. We are not big tobacco. Yeah. We are the small independent vape industry. We've never needed their help. We don't want their help. As a matter of fact, we don't care what happens to them as long as we can keep our businesses. Yeah. We didn't need their permission to start it. We don't need their permission to continue it. Yeah. But today we face multiple issues. Unfortunately, some of those have been misunderstood and wrapped into another. The media shockingly lies to you. The government has bought it. We have stood up in this industry and set the standard for IDing customers to make sure youth aren't getting our product. Be proud of that. We have set the standard. They are asking us how you're doing it. They have watched. We're here to stand up to the untruths being spread by organizations who are addicted to funding from big tobacco. Or they're into their second bottle of white Zinfandel at 10 a.m. Or they couldn't tell the truth if it looked them in the eye. These organizations are corrupt as they come. And the more cigarettes people buy, the more money they make. They don't care about your life. Labor bans in many cities have been instituted because of taxes, because they're starving from revenue through lost cigarette sales. They're using vapor as a ploy and hiding behind the facts to prove otherwise. The math just doesn't add up. Since these states and municipalities have banned flavors, the cigarette sales have increased. The states are okaying sure death by supporting cigarette sales. The black and gray markets have already started and will continue to thrive if the PMTA is not reformed. Asking adults to risk their lives for freedom is horrible. We shouldn't have to risk our lives. We should be able to choose to have this product. 90% of our consumers, adult age consumers, use flavored vape products. They don't want tobacco, mint, or menthol. Unfortunately, that's all that will be left if the PMTA is not changed. Donald J. Trump, members of Congress and Senate, we need your help. We are here to say, we vape, we vote.
We vape, we vote.
Keep it going.
We vape, we vote. 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 We vape, we vote.
We only have days until this process has to be done. And God love my wife. She couldn't be here today. She had to finish submitting our PMTA. 3,090,300 pages. Unbelievable. And we're one of the small companies. Imagine that, 3 million pages of senseless words that mean nothing because they don't care. But it means something to us. Our mission is to work with legislators and regulators to get this process fixed. There was talk of a streamlined pathway from Secretary Azar, thanks to my friend Scott Sands in Toledo, Ohio. We have heard nothing of that since. We need to make sure we know what's out there. And in closing, we must be able to work together to create a streamlined pathway, an affordable pathway for the very people that created this industry and not hand it over to big tobacco. We are not big tobacco. We are the consumer-created solution to the tobacco epidemic. We vape and we vote.
We vape, we vote. We vape, we vote. We vape, we vote. We vape, we vote. We vape, we vote. We vape, we vape, we vote. We vape, we vote. We vape, we vote.
All right. Awesome. Listen, James, thank you very much. Excellent speech. Our next speaker is someone who has been defending this industry for quite some time. He is the face of our industry in the media and has done an incredible job representing us the way that we need to be represented. Please welcome Greg Connolly from the American Vaping Association.
How's everybody doing today? you all for coming. I knew that when this event was planned, with COVID, with PMTAs, that we were not going to have a crowd the size of last year on a brisk November day. But I knew that if we brought out people, our voices would be heard. And congratulations to all of you. This is the first peaceful protest in Washington, D.C. that has not ended with broken windows or fires of the last 5 months. So give yourself a round of applause. Now, 1 month ago, I celebrated 10 years smoke-free and 10 years as an advocate for low-risk, harm reduction, smoke-free alternatives. In an alternate world without the current pandemic, my plan was to spend July and August on the road, doing voter education, voter registration, speeches at vape shops, and different events. That all changed. Instead, I celebrated my 10 years, mostly alone on the couch with 2 cats. But 10 years is a very long time. I can remember the first 3 times that I actually saw vaping. The first in 2008, a man singing in the shower while vaping on one of the first cigalikes. And at the time, I thought, that's ridiculous. That was a funny video. You can all see it still on YouTube. But those things probably won't go far. But then, 2009, as I'm a law school student, outside a few times a day smoking my cigarettes, I saw that the Obama FDA had decided to try to completely ban all these cigarette products in America by illegally declaring them to be drugs. And in order to accomplish that, to build the narrative in the media to support new versions of prohibition, the FDA lied. The FDA claimed that the products had high levels of carcinogens, when in fact, the levels were thousands of times less than in a cigarette and near equivalent to the naturally occurring chemicals that are in the nicotine gum or the nicotine patch that the FDA approves. The third time was then when my first e-cigarette arrived, because if the FDA was saying this product shouldn't be on the market, that for me was as good of an endorsement as possible that you should use it. And the product eventually, it took time, it took technological innovation, but finally, August 2010, I successfully quit with vaping. And at the time, I was naive. Like many of you, I'm sure, were when you quit. You thought, wow, unbelievable. I've smoked for X number of years. I've tried everything in the world to quit.
They're trying to take us down.
We are going to regulate vaping products as tobacco. And there were many people like Bill Godshall of Smoke Free Pennsylvania that were warning from that day that if the FDA did succeed in deeming e-cigarettes to be tobacco products, that would be the end of small and medium-sized businesses in this industry. But because the market kept growing, because the number of vapors grew every single year, it wasn't for several more years until the Obama administration put out the FDA deeming rule. In the time between 2011 and 2015, some may not be aware, but the current person seeking out the vice presidential office at the building across the street, Kamala Harris, then as California Attorney General, with no reason other than the fact that they sued the FDA, Kamala Harris forced NJOY to sign an agreement saying that they would not sell flavors in the state of California. And by the way, Senator Harris has not backed down from that position, as after the Trump administration made the wise decision not to immediately ban all flavored vaping products last year, it was Harris who put out a letter saying the Trump administration is making the wrong choice. If Harris had the pen, the flavor ban would have gone through last year. So just remember that as much problems as we may have with some lack of action from the man in the building across the road from us, the alternative, when you have nearly every single Democrat in the House of Representatives voting earlier this year to permanently ban flavors, there's one side that's bad and there's one side that seems to be far, far worse on paper. And last year, in the run-up to this rally, the longest 3 months of my life, the longest 3 months of Paul Blair's life, and the longest 3 months of many people in this audience's life. In the span of a week, we had Michigan Governor Gretchen Whitmer come out and say, we are banning the sale, not through legislative action, but through governor's order. We're banning the sale of flavored vaping products. Just 2 days later, thanks to the efforts of people like HHS Secretary Alex Azar, President Trump on September 11, 2019 said, the vaping is killing people and we have to stop it. But as you heard from Paul Blair, your voices were heard. And me, to my utter shock, I was actually invited to a meeting at the White House to sit 3 seats down from President Trump. Antonia Boone and Scott Ely were also at that meeting. They couldn't be here today, but thank you to them as well. And at that meeting, with Robin Koval from the Truth Initiative to my left, and the crazy lady from PAVE sitting directly across from me, we told the president, even if you make the smart choice and do not implement this flavor ban immediately, we still have the PMTA deadline looming. And the president, for at least a moment, understood that there was more work to be done. The White House, to a certain extent, their hands are tied by the court order from the judge in Maryland. But that is no reasonable justification for Secretary Azar to go back on his pledge. He was on talk radio in February, and Secretary Azar said, we are going to streamline this process, and open vapor products are not our priority because they do not have light usage with youth like the Juuls and Puff Bars of the world. But Secretary Azar, where is the streamlined PMTA process? Have any of you seen this streamlined PMTA process? 3 million pages for one gentleman's PMTA. 3 million pages. Now, let me give some advice to those. I heard from many people who wanted to be here today, but because of the PMTA deadline of just a couple days away from today, they couldn't make it. For those of you that have submitted PMTAs, this is only the beginning of the road for you. We have deluged the FDA with paperwork. The FDA thought in 2016 that they would receive 25 PMTAs. And now they're looking at millions, if not tens of millions of PMTAs. You've done your part. Some of you sent in 80 different flash drives. Some of you sent in 1 million pages, just actual pages to make them look through. Excellent. Do not make the job any easier for the FDA, but be on top of the FDA. Every time they send you a letter about what you need to do in your application, request a meeting. Talk to your congressman's office. Don't wait until you have a problem. Ask for a meeting, not with the congressman himself. That's a little tough, especially in COVID times, but with a staffer. Give them updates. Send them positive news stories when they do come out. Those staffers, even the Democrats who voted to ban flavors 6 months ago, when it comes to helping out small businesses with regulatory issues, especially when an FDA that is so ill prepared for what they're facing today, they will help you. So please, I am available. Paul Blair is available. This is only the beginning of the war. We are going to prevail. This market is going to stay around. And again, I want to thank all of you for coming out here to say, we vape, we vote.
We vape, we vote. We vape, we vote. We vape, we vote. We vape, we vote. We vape, we vote. We vape, we vote. We vape, we vote. We vape, we vote. We vape.
All right.
Big round of applause for Greg. Man, we're lucky that we have him. So, my next speaker is the president of the United Vapers Alliance and the commander of the Vaping Legion. Please welcome Tristan Thompson.
Good afternoon, my brothers and sisters who braved all the things that stand before us today, health-wise, seasonally, politically, virally. Thank you for braving those things to stand up for what is right. Some people came up here today and gave messages of hope. Some came up and gave messages of despair, their fears and their very valid concerns. But I come with a different message. I'm angry, and I would think my anger is quite justified at this point. Wouldn't you all agree? Yeah! Here's the deal. Let me lay this on the line for those watching, those that have the power to do something. Vaping has enabled me to pull the people I care about most that were still smoking out of the hands of death. How many of you here can say the same? Show me hands. How many of you are someone's savior? How many of you are here fighting for somebody who can't? Yeah. That's what I thought. Literally everyone. How many of you at home watching the streams converted somebody that was near and dear to you? Yeah, I thought that too. Some of you know me, some of you don't. Let me tell you a little story about who I am, because I'm pretty private with what goes on in my life, right? Nah. But a lot of you don't know this. When my wife was 16 years old, she was in a terrible skiing accident. She had 2 strokes. At 16, my wife lost the ability to communicate like a normal person. She lost the left arm that all of us need to do the things we need to do. She lives a life that's twice as hard as most people. Who picks up that slack? I do. And I do it gladly. But unfortunately, I myself was born with a very bad heart. Very bad. They told me if I didn't quit smoking, I was going to die. But that didn't matter to me. My life doesn't matter to me. What matters to me is her life. I'm her caregiver. Without vaping, I would not have had the stamina and the energy required to take care of somebody else who cannot take care of themselves. And that makes me furious. Furious that there are so many people that lead stressful lives that pick up smoking to just have an out. And it's killing them. And then they find this wonderful alternative that is vaping. And the government comes and says, not so fast. You didn't have my permission to leave. Well, I'm sorry. I don't need anybody's permission to leave. Do any of you need anybody's permission to leave? No. Do any of you need anybody's permission to save a life? No. Do any of you need permission to do the right thing? No. That's my message. I am furious that being right and doing the right thing, the just thing, saving somebody that you love from death is looked upon as a joke, with disdain, with scorn. Why? Money. That's why. No other reason. This is about money. And it infuriates me as an American citizen that my government that sits there and claims that it has my best interest at heart tells me, didn't have my permission to leave. I don't need their permission. You don't need their permission. Nobody should be afraid of doing the right thing. No one should stand in the way of doing the right thing. Yeah. That's what this is all about. It's not about the politics. It's not. It's actually simple. It's about getting the people that have the power to do the right thing. It's a simple ask. But I don't ask. I demand my government does the right thing. It infuriates me that they look us in the face and lie to us and tell us that they are. This is 2020, people. I'm sorry. The internet's a thing. Anybody can look up and see that they're lying. There is literally no statistical data that backs any government stance, any NGO stance, any health org stance. Nothing backs it. That's why they moved away from science and decided to hide behind children, like all those that come to strip away the freedoms and liberties that we, the American people, deserve, that our troops fought and died to protect and preserve. Those things. That's what they do. That is the tactic of abolitionists. That is the tactic of prohibitionists. That is the tactic of those, in my mind, are evil. Because to me, it's as simple as that. It's good versus evil. So in closing, I want to take a moment And I want everybody to stop and think about that number, 488,000. 488,000 American lives needlessly, painfully, gruesomely lost, and it's perpetuated by our governments and our institutions under the guise of your health. But it's not about health. It's about the money. I would like to have a moment of silence for all those that we've lost, not just in this year's and the years before, because people couldn't do the right thing. 10 seconds of silence, please. That being said, I thank you all for coming out here and standing up to your government in the face of evil, for braving the things that many could not. And this heat. Seriously, though, it's really hot, guys. Thank you for roughing it out. I love you. I love you all, family. Thank you.
We vote! We vote! We vote! We vote! We vote!
We vote! We vote!
Louder!
We vote! We vote! We vote! We vote! We vote!
All right. Thank you so much. Powerful speech. But I think it holds true. And what's interesting is that what happens here in the United States is going to affect the rest of the world. We've got people from Australia coming here to fight for this industry. We've got other people that came last year from all over the world to fight for this industry. The world looks to us for guidance. This is the front line. We need to fight for what we believe in and hold true to our beliefs. What I'm going to be reading now is from a friend from Australia. His name is Paul Lemire. He couldn't make it out, obviously because of COVID, but he wanted me to go ahead and read his speech. So I'm going to go ahead and read it. And I think you need to take a quick listen to it from someone who's not from the States. Hello, my name is Paul Lemire, owner of LabWorks Vapes based in Sydney, Australia. Hello, and thank you for the opportunity to speak at the UVA rally. Due to COVID and the current lockdowns, I am not able to be there in person. Late 2013, early 2014 is the year I entered the vaping industry pretty much by accident after being a smoker for over 30 years and trying every way, shape, and form to kick the habit. It was not long before I started my journey into the world of mixing e-liquids, simply because of what was available at the time here in Australia and distance from the US. It was not viable for me to import liquids on a weekly basis. Over the past 6 years, I have been involved not only in the industry at a commercial level, but also as an advocate for vaping, speaking on various shows, interviews, as to the plight of the Australian vaping community and the draconian laws that we have in place in regards to not being able to manufacture and sell liquids that contain nicotine due to the classification as a Schedule 7 poison under the Poisons Act. Also, with the threat of import bans of nicotine coming into effect the 1st of January 2021, we're under the proposed system, a prescription will be needed for both the right to import and use nicotine in vaping products. Currently, the framework is not in place, and we are also waiting for a peer review study to be released from the Australian National University, which is not tabled to be released until December. From an outsider looking in, the United States and the FDA's PMTA framework and pathway is unachievable by many small businesses. Only the larger companies that have both the scientific and testing data available to them will be the ones that actually get approved. Leaving an industry that was consumer driven
and built to close its doors and go out of business. As a developer, this also helps to put a stop to collaboration on projects in the e-liquid arena. We now know that the science is very solid, with wonderful studies appearing from around the world on a regular basis. Yet the media has painted the vaping community as some form of tin hat wearing brigade. The media has not given the industry a fair go nor listened to the science. Each time a full study comes up, it is quickly debunked. I can say quite openly that vaping saved my life, and the reason I say that is because in late 2013, early 2014, I was diagnosed with emphysema, which currently I have problems with. President Trump gave the vaping community hope when he said that he would help streamline the PMTA process. Yet we have not seen anything from him. We even had a seat at the table at the White House. Yet between that time and now, we have not moved forward very far at all. Recently, the FDA also said that they would make the process easier. Speaking from experience, that is not the case. The final problem are all the foundations that are helping to crush the industry simply because they know if smoking rates drop below 10%, so will their funding for the pharmaceutical industry, which is also hurting because people are not turning to them for nicotine replacement therapy products. Misuse studies have also damaged the industry, and wealthy philanthropists thinking that they're doing the right thing when it actually is backfiring on them. In closing, I would like to say that the Australian THR, that tobacco harm reduction is not a joke. To the FDA, we are asking for PMTA reform. Please make the process easier for small businesses in the U.S. that are about to close their doors. Trump said that he was all for small business. I'm sorry, but as an outsider looking in, he looked after his corporate friends with all these small businesses about to close across the United States. This will only add to the unemployment numbers. Just remember, people, we vape and we vote. Australia is looking to you all. So again, that just shows you the importance of what we're doing here today. It shows you the weight that's on our shoulders and how we have to continue to keep on fighting. So that being said, I would like to also introduce our next speaker, who is literally a fighter. He is a ex-military veteran. He's going to be giving a beautiful speech. I think everyone should go ahead and listen to him. Please welcome William Baumgartner Jr.
Hello, my name is William Baumgartner Jr. I was born in 1954. I quit going to school at the age of 17. My parents gave me three choices: go back to school, get a job, or join the military. They wanted me to go back to school, but I knew better than them, so I joined the Army. In 1971, I was 17 years old. The first time I smoked cigarettes was during my military time. By the time I was honorably discharged, I was smoking a pack and a half a day. When I got home from the military, my uncle offered to teach me to drive a big rig. He picked me up on his way to California. I spent the next 11 years over the road truck driving. During that time, I went from a pack and a half a day to 3 packs smoker with no end in sight. Time after time, I tried to quit smoking, and each attempt failed. For 38 years, I was a smoker with no hope. I was an early adapter of vapor technology. in an attempt to curb my smoking habit. For the first few years, I used both traditional cigarettes and vaping device. I was able to cut down, but not able to quit entirely at first. I went from 3 packs a day to a half a pack a day, which may not seem like a big deal to some people, but that's a big, huge difference. After 5 years of using both traditional nicotine, I walked into a small shop in Ohio. This shop was a little different from the other places I had been. They had an event called Late Night Vape, where vapors hung out until the last person was ready to leave. There was a sense of community I hadn't found before. The people showed each other flavors, and they tried to pass along information about different devices. It was there at Late Night Vape I found flavors I really liked and was able to put down cigarettes completely. That was 6 years ago. I haven't smoked a cigarette in 6 years because I found a flavor and a style of vaping that worked for me. I had smoked cigarettes for 43 years, and because of vaping, I finally managed to quit.
Yeah!
I have also been able to quit using nicotine. I started with 12 milligrams, and now I vape 0 milligrams. My health is better. I can taste food better. My entire well-being is better because of vaping. Time after time, the vaping industry comes under attack by politicians. Today, we say no more. Growing up, my dad told me, if you don't vote, you need to keep your mouth shut. So I was always a voter. If you want to ban vapor technology and the flavors that help us quit, we need you to know you can count on not getting our vote. We vape, we vote, and politicians' future is in our hands. Thank you.
Give them a wide round of applause, man. That was awesome. Thank you, sir, for your service. Thank you. All right, our next speaker is Shannon Brown. She is a consumer. She's going to give another heartfelt testimonial, something I think we all need to hear.
Hi folks, my name is Shannon Brown. I smoked cigarettes for 32 years and I tried every FDA approved method to quit. I failed each time. I also tried hypnosis, cold turkey, and having my ears shot 3 different times and still failed. On December 1st, 2012, I went into a vape store just to see what they were about and left with my first vaping device, and my e-liquid was a vanilla custard, and that was over 8 years ago, and I have never smoked again. My mother-in-law died of lung cancer, and I was terrible to watch her. It was terrible to watch her go through so much pain and suffering because I had to care for her. Cigarettes will kill over 488,000 people in the United States this year alone. It is the #1 killer in the United States. I cannot consciously vote for someone that will take vaping an innovative device to help people quit smoking and deliberately ban this and its flavors from the American people and subject them to a slow and painful death, like what I watched my mother-in-law go through. I vape, I vote, PMTA reform. No vape, no vote from me. Thank you.
All right, let's get back to a round of applause, please. I mean, Shannon, sorry. That's the wrong name, sorry. All right, our next speaker is a manufacturer based out of California. So he's going to have some great stories to tell you. Please welcome Shane Saturn Simpson.
Thank you all for being here today. I know it's hot out here. I'm hot. You're hot. We're all hot. But thanks for hanging around and supporting this great organization. First of all, it's an honor and privilege to be here to speak to you today. I want to thank everybody on the board at UVA for allowing me to come out and share my experience with you guys today. I was a smoker. You know, I started smoking at the age of 13. I'm like what every public health advocate, you know, on their side, I'm their poster child. 13 years old, smoking. By 17, 2 packs a day. Smoked well into my 30s. And at first I started smoking because smoking was cool, man. I want to be one of the tough guys. I want to be the smoker. I wanted the leather jacket. I just wanted to be cool. But really, as you get older, it's not cool when you're 30 years old. You can't walk around the block. You can't make it up a flight of stairs without having a cigarette. And then those doctors, you know, you got to love the doctors start telling you you're going to die if you keep smoking. And I was, man. I was not in good shape. So I took the doctor's advice. I started the gum, the hypnotherapy, the patches, everything the medical community had to throw at me to try to get me to smoke. I'm one of those weird people that like to smoke on Chantix. And if you ever smoked on Chantix before, that's not a good time. But I was determined, man. You know, I couldn't lose my cool factor. Now, those who know me personally know I am the most uncoolest person in the vape industry. I am not cool. I have never been cool in my life. I will never be cool in my life. I'm just me. But I was out in Los Angeles, California, and another good friend of mine in this industry, Adam Wright, was working at a little vapor shop called Fixed Vapors in Santa Monica at the time, and convinced me to buy a vape. But because I got a little bit of pride and ego, and I'm kind of a little bit of an asshole, couldn't go with the little basic starter kit. I had to go out and buy the top of the line Pervari with the pass-through charger and the battery charger and all the bells and whistles. It was like $500. And you know what? It didn't help. They gave me a tobacco flavor. I'm vaping and smoking. Finally, I found a nice little flavor by a fine company who has been a big supporter of advocacy in this industry for many of years, Five Ponds Manufacturing. Five Ponds used to have this old little flavor called Absolute Pen. Now, 90% of the people in the industry think it's the worst flavor ever invented because it's like a black licorice abstinence flavor. That's what worked for me. That's what got off the cigarettes full time. About 45 days, I did a little vaping scheme. I've used the vape to help extend the time in between cigarettes. In about 45 days, I was on Camel Crushes at that time. I'm down to 1 cigarette a day, and I just felt it was stupid. Then a couple months later, I had an opportunity to partner in a vape shop in Costa Mesa, California. And from day one, from going into that vape shop, I asked, how can I get involved and help this industry? Because I bought into a business, and then the next day, you got Senator Leno up in Sacramento saying he's going to ban the whole goddamn industry and tax it out of existence. I met with that man. I didn't know shit at that time. I was new to the industry, but I took a meeting. I made a phone call. I got a meeting. I sat with them, and he looked me dead in the eyes before that special session and said, we're going to protect small business with this, but we got to find a happy ground. And when I think it was SB 147 failed to pass the vote, and I looked down the voting ballot, he voted in favor of it. Every politician I've met with on the Democratic side of that industry, the government, the big business of government, every single Democrat I've ever met with, and presented them the facts and science of vaping, and has given me their word they're going to take small business into account for a little campaign contribution. You know, if you're just a donor, you're just a contributor, we'd really like to help you. So we started contributing. We contributed to the advocacy agencies. I've supported just about, many of you have seen me at a trade show. There's not an advocacy table I've once passed at a trade show, not reached in my own pocket and threw money in their jars. There's not one organization that has reached out to me for financial support to fight for your guys' right to vape that I've ever said no to. You know, even if they didn't do anything, I still donated. And I don't go on Facebook and talk about it. And I don't post it all over social media. I'm not a real rah-rah guy. But the fact is, in this industry for too long, I've watched Democrat after Democrat after Democrat, just like in California with our flavor ban. You look at the voting, every single Democrat in California voted along party lines to permanently ban flavored tobacco products in California. Even though 20 of them, I've had phone calls with, email correspondence with, talked to, drove all over the state taking meetings. Hey, we're concerned about small business. We, you know, with COVID and everything, it's really tough out there. We're not trying to shut you down. You know? Oh, and then we got deemed non-essential, which also kind of really kicked some shops in the balls. It was the death dagger to a lot of shops in Los Angeles, a lot of shops in, San Francisco, a lot of shops in Northern California. You know, COVID played into what the anti-tobacco people were desperately praying for, a reason to close shops down without needing any legislation, without needing any votes, and then start holding meetings. We're dealing with one of the greatest pandemics outside of people dying from smoking in the United States right now. And politicians right now have nothing better to do than to actively go after the vape industry when they know people aren't coming out for public sessions, where they know they don't have to hold public hearings because of COVID, where they know the only way you can talk to your politicians right now is maybe an email. You might get a response back or you might not. So I am a person who for 2 years voted for President Obama and for Obama's America. And then once I got into the vape industry and saw what his plan for us was, that changed. Now, I'm not the biggest fan of President Trump either. Hell, I'm not a fan of anybody in government, to be honest with you. I think government's pretty much take our money and they don't do it. Let's be honest, I don't agree to pay taxes, but, Trump did help us out as a small business with a little bit of a tax break. And that tax break up till COVID helped me hire a few people and give a couple people a chance. Now, the reason why I'm in the vape industry isn't for the money. There is a lot better things I can be doing if I want to make money. I did not get the Lamborghini. I did not get the big house. I did not get the worldwide first-class, all-expensive paid trip. I haven't got any of that shit. I'm the smallest of the small manufacturers. And people that know me know I grind my fucking ass off just to put food on the table at night, just to keep my shop open. Because my number one priority since day one I got in the industry is being able to have flavors accessible for adult vapors who wish to quit smoking. I've never believed in sensational advertisement. Even with my company, we never used big Instagram advertising. Because I think the best form of advertising is one vapor talking to a current smoker and giving them the facts on how this technology changed their life. That is more important to me than, and that's money I can also have given to advocacy instead of giving to somebody doing promotion. Now, I appreciate the promoters. I appreciate the people that do promotion in this industry. Don't get me wrong. They spread the message of vaping and they do it very well. And a lot of the time, when we got big bills like last year for this rally last year, the influencer community stepped up huge and they spread the message and they got 4,000 people out here for this rally. And for that, I'm thankful. I'm thankful for them. I'm thankful for everybody in this industry, whether you are a small-scale manufacturer, a big manufacturer, an influencer, a consumer, a shop owner, a distributor, anybody who is supporting people's ability to vape and quit smoking. I am a fan of yours no matter how big or small you are. And I appreciate everything you guys do for this industry. Now, we got an election coming up in November, and it's a big one. We already know where the Democratic candidates stand on vaping because their record and their voting record tells me where they stand on vaping. Unfortunately, I hid behind the heavy hitters in this industry. I don't even know why I'm going close to last. It doesn't make sense to me. But like I said, I know that man in that house right there at least gave us a seat finally at the table that we've been asking for 5 years, which is more than anybody else in government has ever done for us. And that resonated with me. Now, I don't agree with all his policies. I don't agree with half the shit that he does. Half the time, I think he's a goddamn moron. If you just stay off fucking Twitter, be nice for some of us. But the fact is, I'm a single-issue voter. And I'm going to vote to protect my business. And I'm going to vote to protect my customers. And I'm going to vote to protect consumers. And right now, the only goddamn voice I got left is my vote. right? So if you think this election doesn't matter, this election matters more than anything to me, a vapor. Because I'm not a business owner, I'm a vapor. You know, business comes second, vaping comes first. And like I said, I had a lot of opportunities in this industry to take money and not be ethical and try to do the wrong thing, but I always chose to do the right thing, even though it greatly financially impacted me. My integrity is more important than a sell. I've never used advocacy as a platform to promote my business, to promote sales, or to ask for money. You know, I'll go visit your shop and do that. But the last thing I want to say is, before I get off the stage, is for many, many years I've been calling for unity in this industry. For many, many years we've had too many advocacy organizations fragmented with different messages and different voices. At some point in this industry, we need to grow up and we need to come together as one. Manufacturers, consumers, wholesalers, distributors, retailers. We need to finally get united under one cause, one banner, one message. And we need to start learning as an industry how to work together. For far too long, this industry has been its own worst enemy by manufacturers bad-mouthing other manufacturers, trying to tear them down, all in the persistent suit of selling one more bottle. It's not about sales, people. If you're only in this business for sales, you're in the wrong fucking industry, and get out. Get out now, September 9th. Just get the fuck out, right? We need unity more than we need anything in this industry, because without unity, we have nothing. We have a bunch of fragmented voices that aren't going anywhere. We have a message that nobody's going to hear. And I said this when I had my radio show on Vape Radio, that unity was the one thing that this industry needed, or we would be at this point where we are right now. Tearing ourselves apart from the inside with infighting on who makes the best this, who makes the best that, who has the most followers, who has the most, cachet in this industry. It's not about that. It's about the consumer. It's about the flavors. You take flavors away, we ain't got an industry. Now, I just finished submitting my PMTA, and I want to thank Matt Salter, who's going to be here today, for helping me with that, because I couldn't do it on my own. I had to reach out for help. And Matt Salter's helped a lot of people in this industry get their PMTAs in. And that man's up in New York right now, not only helping with the live stream, but busting his butt, just like Lindsay Shroud and a bunch of other people in this industry who couldn't be here today, to make sure our PMTAs get submitted so we can maybe, possibly, stay on the market for another year. Right? So more than ever, as an industry, I beg you to come together as one, to unite under one voice, to at least with all our advocacy organizations, to coordinate efforts and work together, and just try to survive what's coming. Now, we already know if you vote, if presidential candidate Biden and Kamala Harris have their way, first action in business, we're gone. We're done. The other main thing too, please call the White House. Please call them and let them know we vape, we vote. That is very important. And also, no matter how big or small you are, please engage with your local political leaders. Because when they have 5 people that show up and say they're against it, and nobody that shows up and say they're for and support of the vape industry, we don't stand a chance. It is everybody's responsibility to engage, if you vape, with your local, state, and federal politicians. They need to hear our voice. So please, take an opportunity, spend 5 minutes, make a couple phone calls. You're doing your part to protect the industry and ensure that you have access to adult flavors in an adult industry created by adults to crush big tobacco. Thank you.
Everyone give a round of applause for Shane. Came all the way out from California. He didn't have to do that, but he felt it was important. Thank you, brother. Appreciate it. All right, our next speaker. We're going to be cutting a little bit early. So we've got this one, then we got Matt Elliott. And Bonnie is Bonnie Butts, an amazing advocate from Pennsylvania. She's a shop owner, but she busts her butts in Pennsylvania because you know the problems they have over there in Pennsylvania. But she's been a leading advocate, always talking to her the representatives, to her senators on a state level and even on the federal level. So please welcome Bonnie Butts, please.
Good afternoon. Thank you for all staying out here in the heat. It is important that we're out here. I'm here today because I'm mad. 5 years ago, I went to speak before the FDA at an Office of Management and Budget meeting. And I wasn't mad when I went there. I thought, this is great. We're going to speak before the FDA. We're going to tell them our side of the story. It's going to be great. Here I am, 5 freaking years later, in DC again, talking about the same shit. And I'm mad. And I'm sick of it. So I just don't understand in 5 years that all the work that we do, it doesn't change. And we need help. So it only takes a few minutes for you to look up who's running for office where you live. You need to look at what they stand for. Do they care about you? Do they care about what you're interested in? I never thought I would be a one-issue voter, but that's what it's gotten to. I have a business with people who depend on their jobs. They depend on their wages. They depend on their health insurance. And I'm not going to let them down. I will fight them into the ground. We're right and they're wrong. And it's that simple. Once you get your information about who your reps are, who your senators are, put it up online, post it on Facebook. Some people aren't going to take the time to do it, but if you do it and put the name and the number up there, maybe they'll do it. So a few years ago, I went and made an appointment with my state rep. And I went in to talk to her, and she was very open to everything that I was telling her. About 6 months later, she called me. The Financial Policy Committee in Pennsylvania was meeting where I live, and she wanted to know if I wanted to speak. Hell yes, I wanted to speak. I had been taxed at 40%, and I wanted to speak. In Pennsylvania, when they decided that we were going to pay 40% tax, they declared us to be a tobacco product, and we have to pay 40% on the wholesale. The same day they said that, they declared that cigars are not a tobacco product in the state of Pennsylvania, and they were let go scot-free. So yeah, I'm mad. Are you mad yet? Yeah! So now the FDA is doing the same thing. So we're all struggling and trying to get to these PMTAs and trying to afford it, and these outrageous amounts of paperwork. And the FDA told the cigar people, we'll take care of it for you. They're taking care of us. Pisses me off. So if I'm a tobacco product and cigars aren't, that's ridiculous. And we're being scammed. So this is all about money, and you all know that. We are being scammed. So when you're talking about voting, think about who votes. A lot of people that are older, senior citizens, a lot of them vote. They're not educated about vaping. They don't care about vaping, but that's who we need to get to. So if my first time in advocacy was speaking to the FDA, you can do advocacy where you live. One of the things that I did is I found out that my local Lions Club needs a speaker once a month, and I got them to let me talk about vaping. I went in and I took some products with me and talked to the people and showed them what it was and told them how vaping saves lives. And their reaction, and these people are 70 and 80 years old, their reaction was, wow, I wish that would have been around when my parents were alive because they smoked and they would have lived longer. And they understood what I was saying. So there's people who vote and there's communities that vote, and you need to get to them somehow and educate people about vaping so we have people voting for us and not against us. Sorry. So 5,000 kids a year in the United States die from alcohol-related issues, whether that be alcohol poisoning or accidents. So 5,000 children a year die from alcohol-related issues. So why is the government allowing cotton candy on liquor bottles, chocolate bars on liquor bottles, Fruity Pebbles beer? Liquor is going to be how it is, and we can't fight against that, but we've taken steps to be different than them, to not market to children. But the bottom line is they don't care about that, but they're attacking us for it. And I'm mad. I'm mad about the unfair treatment that we're constantly getting. One of the worst offenders of this was the governor of Michigan. She got up on a stage and she announced that there was a flavor ban in her state. She left directly from there and went to a brewery where they were launching a beer that they made for her called the Gub, and it's an orange citrus flavor. She's a hypocrite. So if you're as mad as I am, and I am mad, stand up for yourselves. That's all that we can do is stand up for yourselves. Make appointments, talk to your state reps. They work for you, and we all forget that. So go in there and talk to them, say what you want to say, and educate them. You don't have to go in mad. Like I usually go in and I'm very nice when I go in and I leave. I'm like, God damn it. So you go in nice, talk to them, see what their issues on vaping. And the bottom line is Paul Blair, who spoke earlier, said something a few years ago. I was at a cocktail party at the office that he works in for taxes, and he said there's at that time, he said there's 9 million of you, 9 million vapors in the United States. I think we're up to like 13 now. But he said there's 9 million vapors in the United States. You have the ability to swing a vote. Get your shit together. There are enough. There's 9 million people do have the ability to swing a vote. So get it together, figure out who you need to vote for, what their platform is, and do what's best for you, and get fucking mad.
We vote! Louder! That's what I hear! He needs to hear it over there! That's right! 13 million strong! All right, we got our last speaker coming up. We're going to be ending this a little bit early. We're going to ask you to hold up your signs a couple of times during the speech so that we get some really good shots. But I just want to say thank you all for coming here, man. This was, I mean, what a crazy year. And you guys still made it. And we still have tens of thousands of people that are watching us on YouTube and Twitter and on Twitch. And how many more are going to be watching this, replaying this, and watching the same thing? So, and because they're retweeting this. So thank you all for understanding the power that we have, regardless of what the media has said. We have come together twice now to do this. And we are still here. This industry has always had deadlines, has always had final days, and we're still here. And it's no different. If you think about it, we're veterans. We've been through this before. A final day means nothing to us. It's a walk in the park. All we got to do is be heard. We're shutting down the phone lines already. So again, thank you so much for being here. I love you all. And I would like to introduce you to probably one of the most incredible public speakers, Matthew Elliott.
What's going on, everyone? No. I said, what's going on, everyone? That's the passion I'm talking about. First and foremost, I want to take a moment of silence. We've lost some great advocates this year. We've lost some great friends, people we consider family. The list is too long to name. So I just ask for 10 seconds of silence to remember those and everything that they did for this industry and for the consumers, the smokers, and the vapors alike. They may be gone, but their memory lives on in each and every single one of us. Now, some of you may know me, some of you don't. Some of you may like me, some of you don't. And I'll be honest, I don't care. I don't care. I say things the way it needs to be said, not what you want to hear. I want everyone to think back around August 8th, 2016, when the deeming regs hit. I want everyone to think back of what that did to this industry, to this community, how it devastated us. I mean, we thought the industry was over at that point. But then something amazing happened. You, the consumers, took up that call, sat inside vape shops and explained the things that the vape shops could not. You, the consumers, spread the message
because it was federally illegal to give the benefits about vaping. I remember that. I remember every fight we've been in. I remember when we were arguing about labels. I remember when we were arguing about clones. And the reason I'm going down this memory lane right now is because it has all led to this moment. Every argument, every post, every video has led to this moment. We're on borrowed time. We were supposed to be gone years ago, but we are still here. Now, many could not come here because of the PMTAs. I want to ask an honest question and give me an honest answer. Raise your hand if you did not know how vital the PMTA process is to companies staying around. All right, well, at least I don't have to go through that again. Now, I want to speak to the news media. I want to speak to the politicians watching this, and I want to speak to Donald Trump, who is in that White House right now. I'm a nobody. I am a faceless person in the vape industry. I am no one special. I don't have years of training in business. I don't even have a college diploma. So how is it that I know what is happening is not going to work? Pandora's box has been opened, which is vape industry. This industry was started from nothing. It was started in kitchens, in bathrooms, in basements, in storage units. We have seen it all. And this is what people will see again, because even through the PMTA process, the industry is too large for you to control. You've shown your lack of being able to control it. You've shown your lack of being able to enforce it. And we have suffered because of it. Yeah. Stop blaming the vape companies. Stop blaming the vapors for the actions, the illegal actions of minors who should not be in possession of these products to begin with. Ban the children. Ban the parents.
Be a fucking parent. There you go.
This product right here, if I put this on the table, it is not going to do anything until someone picks it up and uses it. So why are we blaming the products and not the people responsible? Responsibility to the responsible is a concept that not many understand. But that is what needs to happen. The media is responsible for the negative message. Yeah! NGOs are responsible for the misinformation. Yeah! The federal government is responsible for letting this happen. Yeah! And you will all be held responsible. Come November, when it is time to vote, I don't care if you're a Democrat. I don't care if you're a Republican. I don't care if you're a Libertarian. I don't care if you're a Green Party or whatever else there may be out there. I'm not going to tell you how to vote. That is your right. That is your individual right, and that is your choice. Just remember, every action has an equal and opposite reaction. That's all I'm going to say about that part. Now,
it's been said time and time again why this is happening. And I'll show you right now. For a visual. No, I am not throwing the money. No, I am not ripping all of my money. This right here. I don't care what religion you are. I don't care what political organization you affiliate yourself with. I don't care if you're black, white, Asian American, Native American, Mars, Jupiter, whatever. This right here is what controls you. This is what controls you, whether you like it or not. So, for the federal government that is not being responsible and allowing these small businesses to crumble under the weight of PMTAs, this is what you are doing. That. No, that's littering. 3-1 was able to take on this time. We did not have a chance to have the most epic display of activism I have ever seen. It is because of that activism that we got a seat at the table. I offer all of you, raise your signs in a shield wall. We beg, we vote, we beg, we vote, we beg, we vote, we beg, we vote,
We beg, we vote, we beg, we vote, we beg, we vote, we beg, we vote, we beg, we vote, we beg, we vote, we beg, we vote, we beg, we vote.
And for all of you watching right now, there better be We Vape, We Vote hashtags going down that list on YouTube, on Twitter, on Facebook. This industry has given me a second chance. Some of you know this, many of you don't. This industry is a reason I am alive today, is the reason why I'm alive today. And not just because I was a 3-pack-a-day smoker. Not just because I started smoking cigarettes at 8 years old. I held myself responsible for that, even though I knew it was wrong. No. This industry gave me fire. This industry gave me a reason to continue when I couldn't find any other reason. And if it wasn't for the fact that I was vaping instead of smoking, I would have committed suicide many years ago. So I actually want to say thank you to the federal government. You gave my life purpose. You gave me a second chance because I'm going to do everything in my power to stop the corruption, to stop the unfairness, to stop the injustice that is being done to not only these companies that are out here, these consumers that are out here, but the 480,000 lives that will pass away due to smoking and smoking-related illnesses this year alone. So once again, my brothers and sisters, my friends, my enemies, I don't care. Throw up those signs, make your voices heard, because we beg and we vote. We beg, we vote, we beg, we vote, we beg, we vote, we beg. Thank you. I love all of you.
We beg, we vote, we beg, we vote.
In closing, I would like to thank everyone who could not be here today because they are fighting every single hour to file those PMTAs in time. I would like to thank the United Vapors Alliance. I would like to thank all the marshals. I would like to thank National Park Service. And I would like to thank every single one of you for coming out and make your voices heard. Please pick up all your trash on the way out. Be safe. God bless America and hail you. Keep the signs, pick them all up, bring them to your shop, spread our message.
Well, it looks like it was a success. It looks like everybody. I mean, all the speakers were amazing. There's no doubt. We got to hear from Paul. He was on screen here while his speech was being delivered by Sherwin. Thanks for
that was actually pretty cool. That was actually pretty cool.
Yeah, I mean, I think that every speaker that spoke was amazing. I mean, there's absolutely no shame. There's nothing. I mean, obviously, it wasn't nearly as big as the one from last year, but I mean, I don't think anybody expected that many. I mean, I just don't think that. I mean, realistically, with all the travel restrictions and with the COVID and everything, it was about as good as you could possibly expect.
I agree.
The COVID-19, everybody working on their PMTAs, trying to get everything done in the last few days. So yeah, but from beginning to end, I can't say that there was a horrible speaker or I mean, everybody was damn good. Guy Bentley was great. The guy from Down Under from the Taxpayer Alliance was amazing.
Tim Andrews also reached out to me and he'd like a spot on the show.
Yeah, he can come on anytime. Well, anytime that we're doing the show.
Yeah.
For sure. This wasn't our stream. We didn't create the stream. We borrowed it from the UVA, and we skipped around from we had three different sources. The first one that we were using crapped out. That was Lane Shannon's, and then we borrowed for the Kara speech. We borrowed what's his name's feed. So yeah, I mean, and then obviously this was the official UVA feed that we borrowed and restreamed. As far as I'm concerned, at one point we had 130 people watching this stream. There was 100 people watching the other stream. There were people watching the Twitter stream. As many people as possible, getting the word out is great. Keith Fairman in the chat room just said he sent 2 thumb drives with his PMTAs already. There's other people that are watching the stream that are also working on their PMTAs. This is it. This is fucked up time for everybody. There's a lot of worry. A lot of, we got to be as positive as possible. We got to be as aggressive as possible, and we got to get, the word out as much as possible that, we're not going anywhere. This industry's not going anywhere. We're going to survive this. We're going to do what we can do. And I keep saying we. I always say we. I don't manufacture e-liquid. I don't have any products on the market. I don't make mods. I'm just a guy that uses this product so that I don't smoke. So yeah, I mean, is great. Michelle Minton has been hanging with us a good amount of time. She's on the YouTube feed, the wonderful Michelle Minton. And I know that Demetrius and Phil shared the stream on their feeds as well. And Victor said he sent his flash drives as well. It's just amazing, even though we couldn't be there. And I'll tell you, I mean, the whole time that I've been here, the reason I didn't put our faces on screen on, out of some sort of arrogance. I put our faces on screen so that people could see that during this whole thing, I've been tweeting. I called the White House 4 times while we were doing this. The whole point of doing this is to show that even though you couldn't be there, you could act. I've had that stream going across the bottom of that ticker going across the bottom of the screen the whole time. Let's break the White House phone lines. Let's continue making those phone calls. Twitter has been on fire pretty steady the whole time.
I think Twitter's melting at the moment because it got absolutely hammered.
My alerts have been going crazy because I've been tweeting. David Forsyth just tweeted 3 minutes ago at one of my tweets saying that the White House phone lines are jammed. That's good because the last time I called, the guy answered the phone and he was like, "Hello, White House." Like he sounded overwhelmed. I hate it for him, but that's the whole point. Let's just keep it up. Kevin disappeared. I didn't remove him from the stream because I thought he might show back up. He's been chatting in the chat room. I don't know if his camera broke or if Logan, the grandchild. Oh, there he is.
Oh, there he is.
You heard his name. You say his name, and the devil shows up.
Boom. No, I've been watching the whole time.
Well, I know you've been answering in the chat room and you've been tweeting the whole time, but you turned your camera off because I thought you might have been getting naked or something.
Nobody needed to see this ugly mug.
So what was your feelings there? Vaping it. Hashtag louder.
I got pissed off. I fell in love. I got to see the sexiest man in vape be subtle, and among other things, I've decided that the cranky old broad should be sitting at the White House by the weekend end. That's the way I see it. So I'm glad those people that did show up showed up. I'm just as glad that everybody that was watching watched and tweeted, and Facebooked. So yeah, I still say success.
Yeah, I mean, for me, like I said a while ago, there was no expectation that there was going to be 5,000 people at this event. There's just no possible way that during a pandemic that was going to happen. I think the quality of the speakers, the crowd that did show up, were able to participate and show, their passion for this industry. Obviously having Paul here on the stream while his speech was read and the other gentleman from Australia, showing that this is not just here. I've been hammering the point that this is not just an American fight.
No.
Obviously the at least 50% of the world's industry for vaping is here. Is here, and whatever happens here affects everyone else.
Paul said a couple of weeks ago that if America falls, everybody falls.
Well, it's dominoes, baby. And I'm not talking about pizza.
And I heard the word louder so much, so that was proud to hear that.
Yep.
I didn't invent it, but I like to hear it.
Well, you're close enough to inventing it. You're one of the ones.
I'm a bot. I can't invent stuff.
We are the robots. Me.
That's right.
And then, Paul, what time is it in Australia right now?
It is 5:35 a.m.
So start texting him.
We spent the weekend with Paul because Paul was on last night on the show last night, and
who do I need to rev up? I can't wake them up.
No, we're going to wake you up in a couple hours.
No, you won't.
We're wait for you to start taking your nap, and then we're going to wake you up again.
Really?
Oh, Troop's in the room.
Don't think so. G'day, Troop.
So Demetrius's speech. He got choked up. I almost got a little choked up. Phil, Phil acts like he's not an advocate. Phil acts
I know. Bill's got it right though. Yeah. His speech wasn't read. It was on white paper, printed out nicely. Although some people didn't understand the Australian accent.
Yeah. So,
Demetrius actually invited Jerry to have
listen
coffee
in
at the Ellipse.
Yeah.
So I said, if you meet with these two wonderful human beings, Jerry, I'll reimburse for his coffee, water, lunch, supper, transportation, and any other expenses, including a new replacement shirt once he's realized he's been sweating profusely the whole time. But I haven't heard back yet.
Yeah.
I don't know why.
But yeah, Phil constantly says that he's not an advocate. Phil gets every time that Phil gets like that. He puts it all out there. Like his heart is in every word.
He wanted to swear so bad it wasn't funny.
And then obviously Guy, I saw Kevin get a little excited when Guy was on screen.
I got excited when I saw Kristen was watching. I do like Guy though.
Thank you, Kristen. Yeah. I mean, we tried to do everything, and it's important for everybody to realize how important it is to not be silent right now.
Yeah.
The rally's over. They're striking the stage, but it's time, like from now until the rest of the day, tomorrow, this weekend, we need to not be silent until and after the doomsday deadline.
Okay, and even if you're sitting on the toilet having a crap, email the White House.
One of these people that go to the bathroom, they take their device and they're with them when they go.
Well, email the White House if you're taking a crap. I don't care what you do. Email the White House.
Call the White House while you're on the crapper. It's okay.
Yeah, I know. And make sure you fart really loudly if you get on the phone to them.
But yeah, I mean, it started out great. Kara Tibbetts came out there and just started it and knocked just hit all the right points. So yeah, we're not going to belabor this, but Paul, before we go, what do you got to say?
There was some great speeches. A lot of people that got up there on that stage. I think for once, because everyone couldn't be there in person, and this got spread so broadly across every fucking platform that I could see. It was everywhere. The Twitter was going absolutely bonkers. There was watch parties in even pardon me, even in all the private groups. There was watch parties going on. This feed that you had up was being shared and shared and shared and shared. Jay's still commenting on the feed that he had running in his private group, in the Five Pawns group. So, and that got shared, I don't know, another 10, 15 times from that group. But for once, technology took control and actually showed the world that, yes, we are all listening. And, it was fun to actually hear what I had to say get read out. And that's now on record. I'm sick and tired of, everyone just thinking it's the US. It's the
between
world.
Between us and the UVA guys, we were on every platform that we could possibly be. They didn't have the ability to go on Twitter, so we got it on Twitter. They had it on YouTube. We had it on YouTube. They had it on Facebook. We had it on Facebook. They had it on Twitch.
It was everywhere.
It's great. I mean, my whole reason for doing this was because I felt like we could do a good job with it. And that was the whole point, was getting the word out, letting people know that even though you're at home and there's no way for you to be at the rally, there was still a way for you to put your voice out there, to participate. Twitter's going to be rolling for a while. The phone lines will eventually slow down, but keep up what you can keep up. And just remember, this fight isn't over. Even when they say it's over, we're not giving up. Like, we get to choose when we stop fighting. They don't get to make that choice. So thanks everybody for participating. Thanks, Kevin. Thanks, Paul. Kevin left.
You're welcome.
And just keep on keeping on, people. We're not going away. And there's not going to be any fancy theme music or anything. We're just going to end the stream. Thanks for showing up, people. Have a good weekend. Enjoy the Labor Day on Monday for the Americans, because I get a 3-day weekend. So I spent my day doing this. I'm gonna go barbecue now, and
Oh, don't start.
I'll send you pictures, Paul. I'll send you pictures.
No, fuck off. It's breakfast time here. And
what does it matter?
Now you're telling me about. Well, I never said that I couldn't, but you shit stirring bastard. He does this to me all the time. He sends me photos of fucking barbecue shit. Fuck this.
Because you need to fatten up a little bit. You're too skinny, and I'm just trying to make sure that you're hungry enough to get nutrition on your own. But anyway,
that's going to get you in a whole lot of fucking trouble.
Peace out, people. Be good. Enjoy the weekend.